Hello, good morning, good evening, and good night, wherever you're tuning in from tonight. It has been a while. This is the first stream of 2025, and we're kicking things off with an absolute banger of a show. We've got some reveals, we've got some rumours to talk about. So if you're in the market for some Black Series chit chat, you've come to the right place. I am, of course, as always, joined by the legends that are Daniel East 1000 and Robo Quiff Collects. Gentlemen, how are you doing?
Living it, loving it.
Good.
There's always so much enthusiasm. Always so much enthusiasm when I ask that question. I love it. How are you doing? It's all good.
I'm just up for a fucking drink.
I never know who's going to say it first. That's the thing. I don't want to interrupt. You know.
Be right. But we haven't been together since before Christmas. Did you guys have a good holiday? Did you get any good Star Wars? In fact, let's just dive right in. Let's talk recent pickups. And without further ado, let me introduce the new jingle to lead us in to recent pickups. It's like I said, it's because they picked him up. They picked him up, and because we're doing pickups, it's like a funny. I made a funny. Pathetic. But yeah, like obviously the festive season always brings with it gifts aplenty and stuff. So did you guys get anything good for Crimber, Star Wars wise? I mean, I know you did, Dan. That goes without saying. If anybody follows you on Instagram, then we all know what you got.
I don't dare move him, but he's there.
He's big there. Throbbing blue boy.
Oh, I did have a big throbbing blue boy. You want to open that thing?
The Monday rubbing.
Hoctor. Yeah. He's fucking.
I've not heard of that character, Dan. Who's that? Hoctor. Is that a Jedi Master? Or...
Yeah, Hoctor. Yeah, I'm not going to move him. Well, yeah, I got Thrawn. For anyone who doesn't know.
Nice one. What else have you been picking up in the interim between streams?
Well, it's my favourite season, to be honest, because it's when there's a complete lull in releases, so it gives you a chance to catch up if you need to catch up, and that can be in any sense, really. So with current Black Series releases or past, I've not gone anywhere near Star Wars the past few month or so.
Well, what are you doing on this stream then? Sod off.
No, I'll see you all later. Bye.
Dirty.
Nah, it's kind of Lucasfilm related. It is Lucas, you know. But I've gone on a real Indiana Jones kick. As anyone knows who watches my videos, Indiana Jones' first thing I started to review, and then it's kind of did more Star Wars stuff. We've gone back to it more recently because of the new film. I went back home. I dug out some bits over Christmas, and I found this 12-inch Indiana Jones figure from King of the Crystal Skull. Now, if anyone remembers those figures, they had like really rubbery skin on the face because they had like a mouth like that, and it did the sound. Unfortunately, mine absolutely scarred. It looks like it's looked into the Ark of the Covenant and its face has melted off. So I had to sadly throw Indy in the bin, but I thought, you know what, I've got these clothes. And so what I did was I went on AliExpress and I picked up some parts to make my own Indiana Jones. So using the donor clothes and then getting some parts. So I got the head from AliExpress. Now he did come with a hat, but sadly the hat didn't look good, and also, you know.
It's aging, you know. It happens to us all.
Yeah, it certainly does. So I've got the original hat, and it actually fits on quite nicely. So you know, once it's on, it's all good. Bought the whip off AliExpress. I got the satchel off of AliExpress because the original didn't even come with a satchel. And of course the body as well, which is underneath the whole ensemble. And you know what? I think it comes together really, really nicely. I'm proper chuffed with it.
You should be, mate.
Um,
That looks really good. You wouldn't think that it were like a
Yeah.
custom project. It looks store bought, you know.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
So I'm quite happy with that. I mean, other than, you know, when you pop that off, it's a bit like, oh, that's a bit lame, isn't it? But no, I'm proper chuffed with him. I've got the hands
I
as
hate
well.
balding, Jack. I hate it.
So not only that, I then noticed that Game have been getting in loads of retro collection figures, not just Star Wars, but Indiana Jones. And I was like, oh, I wasn't going to buy them originally, and then I ended up getting almost all of them. I bought some off of Star Action figures because they were a bit cheaper than Game. But you know, it was a nice little thing to go into Game after work, a little treat yourself thing, because it's only like what, £8, you know. But I got one off of Star Action figures because I wanted one nice and pristine in card, in one of their lovely premium star cases, and I'm gonna have to get myself some more of these bad boys because they are absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, that does look good. I think it's got to be said as well. Like, it might be a hot take for some. I don't know. I'm guessing not, because the general consensus is that the Star Wars retro cards aren't the best. But I think the Indiana Jones retro stuff hits harder than Star Wars because it is a direct reproduction. It just looks so much more retro than the Star Wars stuff does. So,
completely.
With a card back that is significantly less abused as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's been some absolute lookers on shelves at Game that have been done up with sellotape and staplers and
Wow.
Yeah, I've got some pictures that I'll be wabbing in my review when I eventually get around to doing them, so you can have a nice look at those when it does eventually get made.
Nice. Yeah, I've been doing the same though. You know, like I've been dropping into Game on my travels, and I've just been like filling in the gaps in my retro collection to the point where I've actually like rehoused my entire retro collection, because I don't know if anybody will remember from previous streams, but they used to sit sort of here in the collection, and I've moved them onto a bigger shelf now, so they're up somewhere else. And I've just been like spreading them out so you can see them a little bit better. And I've picked up, I haven't got them to hand, but I've got Hera and the HK droid from Ahsoka. I picked those up from the retro collection the other day. But I've been on a bit of a Lego binge over the past couple of weeks, in the time between Christmas, and that's something that like I've not really done for a while. So I picked up again. I don't have it to hand, but I got the large scale like collector series C3PO. I picked that up because I've had the R2 for a while, so I thought I needs a buddy, and I got some Smith's vouchers for Christmas, so I went and grabbed him. And then they'd got it stupidly cheap again in Smith, so I got the Blockade Runner Lego set. And then I was like, when I finished building it and setting it up, and then I put it on my shelf, I was like, that's not nearly got enough Rebel Fleet Troopers and Stormtroopers in it, so what can I do to bulk this out? So I went on eBay looking for just like loose minifigures, and by the time I'd done buying loose Rebel Fleet Troopers and Stormtroopers, I might as well have just gone to the Lego store and bought a set. So I did, and I got the little throwback set to what are they, like the OG Lego sets, which is the Rebel Trooper. Yeah, I got the little Rebel Speed. Yeah, I got the little Rebel Speeder and Imperial dropship set. And then once I got that, I was like, well, this dropship looks a bit daft just plonked on my shelf. So I went over onto eBay and got myself a nice little acrylic stand for it as well, which turned out quite nicely, and I really like it, actually. It looks pretty good. I'm quite happy with that. It's a nice little set. Sits on there nicely. Checks things up on the shelf. Quite happy with that. Also, just last week, finally grabbed, and it's not in box. I apologise. I couldn't wait. I had to rip it open. But finally picked up, for those of you that know me, one of my all-time Power of the Force 2 Grail pieces. And it's not an AT-AT. It's not a Millennium Falcon. It's not an X-Wing. It's not a TIE Fighter. is
I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous.
like a panther. And it is the fucking best thing I've ever bought with money.
It's just beautiful.
It
I
is
need
so good. I was a bit gutted because it came in absolute like shout out. I got this off Vinted for an absolute steal as well. And the guy I bought it from, like, his communication was spot on, and he was like, "I'm gonna send it in bomb-proof packaging because I know exactly what the delivery guys are like who deliver to the one-post lockers." He's like, they just kick them about and stuff. So I'm going to send it bomb-proof. And I'm like, oh, I really appreciate that because I don't know yet whether I want to keep it boxed or open it up. And he's like, well, I'll make sure it's like in pristine nick for you then. And it was when it came. The box was like just immaculate for the most part. It was a bit dusty, but other than that, absolutely pristine. And it made the decision really, really difficult. But then I was like, I haven't got any because the box is fucking huge. I was like, I just don't have the space for it. As much as I'd love to keep it in the box, the main objective was just to get a Bantha because this is something I've been after for years for the Power of the Force 2 collection. So I made the decision to open it up, and I'm really glad that I did. But the tail had snapped off when I opened it out of the box, so I've had to glue that down a little bit and give him a bit of a comb over on his tail so you can't see the joint where I've glued his tail back on. But do you know what? I'm absolutely smitten. Like, for a 30-year-old toy, like the fur is just immaculate. The condition is perfect. Like, it's just bob on. I'm so happy with it.
I just wish we could get a re-release. It should have had a re-release.
We need one. Do you know what? I was getting to that point where I was finding some of the 30th anniversary collection ones were a little bit cheaper, but they just don't look as good because they're all matted and curly and just look a bit shit, really. So
like they've been permed to fuck.
Yeah, so I stuck with my original plan, and I'm really glad that I did. I love that thing; it's so good. But for Christmas, since it's a Black Series live chat, I thought I'd touch on some of the Black Series stuff that I got for Christmas because I did get like a few pops and stuff like that, but no one's bothered about those on these streams, I'm sure. So I did finally get from my lovely, lovely wife the Darth Maul Speeder, which I'm absolutely buzzing with. I love that reproduction packaging of that 12-inch figure that Dan has sitting proudly in his collection. Yeah, I'm not opening these up though because I just the presentation is just too good. So yeah, that's going to be staying in box. I'm going to be grabbing a protective case for that at some point, and also got the Stap as well, which is a punch right in the nostalgia because I remember seeing the sneak preview of this in Toys R Us back in '98 and thinking, never seen that before. What's that from? So, and again, that's going to stay boxed as well. So, nice stuff. And then to wrap things up, there was one other pickup that I've made, and I know I said that the Bantha is a bit of a grail, and it is, but this next pickup is not a grail, it's more a pilgrimage. And I can't stress enough how excited I am because in February 2026, your boy is heading to Galaxy's Edge. So this week I picked up tickets to Walt Disney World in Florida, and I am buzzing off my little nipples. I can't wait to go and kick a 3-year-old out of the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon because I am, oh my God, I am already planning. I've got a shopping list this big, man. It's unreal. I can't wait. I'm so pumped. It's finally happening. So yeah, February 26th, I'll be there. And I'm really excited. James, what did you get?
I'm not quite sure it can live up to that last one. Very, very jealous. Before you go through the pictures that I sent in advance, this is just a hand so I can show it. That's if I can get a picture of it that doesn't reflect every beam of light off it. Been after one of these for a couple of years. Someone on eBay popped one of them up, and it's practically mint condition, no issues with it. So got one of them, added that to the shelf. Lovely little case. Much harder to find than you'd probably think, I suppose. But got some good memories of picking this one back up in 2009 in Toys R Us.
I've got to hand it to you as well, James. Like, you always do such a good job of finding those Clone Wars figures in such good condition.
Yeah.
Like, that looks like it got released yesterday.
I wouldn't accept anything that isn't perfect. Like,
Yeah.
no half measures. I can't do it because I know I just wouldn't be happy with it. So I've been burnt a few times. Like, the only acceptable bit of damage on a Clone Wars card for me is a hanger crease or like a foxed corner.
Yeah.
Anything else is like
Yeah.
that ruffles the tism, that does.
Anything that little flap on the bottom of those foldable cases can cover up, that's all
That's
good.
the one.
But
Yeah.
anything after, I know I'm exactly the same with my card, but it's a price you do trying to find stuff without nicks and creases.
Yeah, speaking of pricey dues.
Yeah.
So I've had we'll start in the middle because I've had Throne for a while, and then for Christmas my mum and dad got me the Night Trooper, and then shortly after Christmas Enoch came out. That was a couple of weeks ago, I think. So, you know, whenever you get certain releases from Hot Toys, I always I call it my little vision. I've got a little note set up on my phone with just some mad scribbles of where things are going to go and how they're going to be displayed. And from the get-go, I thought, you know, that's how I want to have Thrawn displayed. So,
cool,
you know, I'm very happy to finally put that together. And then got Sabine over on the left, which, you know, that's a really great figure. The head sculpt on that is just stupidly good. And like Dan said, this like little interim where there's not much coming out from Hasbro or any other of the main companies. So somehow I managed to, you know, work myself up into buying that Clone Wars Cad Bane from Sideshow. I passed an exam the other week, and that was like my good boy present. You know, you know, done something good in life. You got to treat yourself with a toy. But that's definitely the best of the bunch. It's a bit of a shame that the line's kind of been rested by Sideshow now, or so it would seem. But that's probably the best of out of the 5 that have come out. Can't complain about that in the slightest. Yeah. I've had some nice little stands made as well, but I think I sent these to you about a couple of days before I got them, so just use your imagination. Or go and check my Instagram for more.
I was just about to stress, because these aren't product pictures, these are from James's personal collection. So if you're not following RoboQuiff Collects already on Instagram, go and check him out, especially if you're a Hot Toys fan, because some of the, I've got to hand it to you, man, again, because the poses that you get these figures in, you should be the guy doing the how-to pose your figures videos on Hot Toys channel, because especially
I'm glad someone else has said it, and I haven't just been telling myself this for the longest time. I feel like all I do is scroll down Facebook groups going, "Shouldn't have bought that, you fucking pose is wank." But I'm heavily critical.
That's me, because I'm the one who uses the actual weird little backing stand thing with the crotch.
Yeah, I mean,
you got the balls to not use that.
Lots of practice, mate. Lots of practice.
That's what I'm like as well, to be fair, because I mean, I've only got like a handful of Hot Toys and Sideshows in my collection, but I have to use those little stands as well that go right up the gooch, because there's just no other way of getting them to stand for me. I can't do it. I can pose them all right, but
can't do with them. Half of them I've thrown in the bin, I'll be honest with you, because like you could just get that many and I have nowhere to put them.
Well, don't throw them in the bin. Don't throw them in the bin. I'll have them off you, because I'm still collecting that Kenner Collector Series line from the 90s, and they will be invaluable for those. Any 12-inch stands you've got, save them for your boy. Cause
all right, matey. Yeah.
But, you've been on a bit of a buying spree, and I've got to say again, kudos on the card condition, because oh baby.
So talking of like, treating yourself. This was my Christmas present to myself because I was just mindlessly scrolling eBay whilst I was walking around Asda with my mum and dad before Christmas. And somebody popped a load of these up, and they looked like they were in good condition. The listing for the battle droid and R2, they had like little brown stain or what appeared to be such, but little communication with the seller. He assured it was just the lighting of the image, and they're all mint. So I took the plunge, and there we go. I mean, I've been waiting fucking years to get a complete set of the first Clone Wars wave. So I've had Anakin, Obi-Wan, and the Clone Trooper for a few years now. And then I tried to get the first day of issue ones, but they just came riddled with problems because the stickers are really hard. It's really hard to find versions with those stickers that stay on and the glue doesn't rot on them.
Yeah.
And so it became easier to look for the regular versions, which is what I picked up back in 2008 anyway. But finding that battle droid, you would not think it, but that battle droid is the hardest out of that wave to find.
That's
mint on card. Just I don't know. I guess everybody opened them or chewed them.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
Definitely chewed them by the looks of many eBay listings. But no, I'm chuffed to have them. I've nearly finished my carded Clone Wars stuff now. I just want a Commander Cody and a Commander Fox, and then unless I replace figures on the display, that's it complete for the meantime.
Happy days, mate. Happy days. It's one of those. Like, I just sit back and look at these, and I think I'm getting more into the habit of doing it now. But like, one of my things is that I just love to have different eras of packaging represented in my collection. Not every single version because it just take up too much space, but just some of my favourite cards from over the years, and it just makes me go back and think, I wish when these came out I'd left more of them carded, knowing what I know now, because
especially you saw a lot of them on discount as well.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It just makes you think, like, you do it now. Like I said, I've made more of a conscious effort to do it now that I pick something up, and then like in 10 years, I'm buying it and thinking to myself, in 10 years, if I open this, I'm going to regret it. So keep it carded. Have that willpower. Don't let them breathe. They don't need to breathe. So it's all good. It's all good. Now, sweet pickups, guys. I'm very, very envious. I'm a very jealous boy. Let's throw it to the comments because we have got a full house tonight. I'm just looking at the numbers and we've got a decent crowd in this evening. So hello to everybody who's watching. We've got Brandon in the chat. Hey Steve, been a fan for years since the deluxe Darth Maul figure with the mini lightsaber on his back, or even the Anakin colour changing blade. Love your videos, great for the community. Thank you, Brandon. Much appreciated, mate. That is a video going back some years. That was before I had the mop chopped, which was... the less we say about those days, the better. We've got Landspeeder Luke in the chat as well. YouTube royalty in the house. Seth,
can we just shout him out really quick? I don't know if any of you guys have seen, but he has just made the most incredible Black Series Death Star diorama that you can 3D print. Like, what the hell? Yeah. That was just...
I've seen
I haven't got space for something like that. I haven't even got space for a bloody printer, but
I was literally just about to say, like, I'd love to get a printer, but that might be something that I have to outsource to a friend who may or may not be watching. If you are watching, you know who you are.
You're about to get busy.
That's it. But like I said, yeah, Seth is with us. Hello there. Sea Lion's in the chat as well. We've got Collector Curve, who shouts out Feathers McGraw in the background there. Sea Lion says, it's my birthday next week, so I've just ordered a ton of Power Rangers Lightning Collection figures before they totally cease to exist. Not Star Wars, but they are arguably Hasbro's best figure line. I'll have to take your word on that one, mate, because I've never really been one for Power Rangers, but I'm happy for you. Glad that you've been able to track something like that down. JC is in the chat as well. Hello, guys. The Bantha is so good. Be careful with the tail, though. Mine broke off pretty easily. Yeah, mine straight out of the box, which was not a fun time. But there we go. Collector Curve picked the Stap up today from ID Toys. What a piece. Great to have them in the Black Series scale. And shout out as well to Indyman Toys, who had their second in-store con today.
Oh, yeah.
It was a bit gutted that I couldn't make it down to Norwich for that. But hopefully, if and when they do another event of the same ilk, I'll be able to get down for it. But yeah, good stuff on show there. Sea Line again. I've been on an absolute epic Heroes binge recently. Can't wait for that SM33 and the Darth Vader with Soul Calibur lightsaber. Yeah, I've got to admit, I'm very, very shocked to see SM33 in the Epic Heroes line before the Vintage
Yeah.
Collection, and I'm glad I didn't see any of the discourse surrounding that, because I can only imagine what the TVC crowd had to say about it. But no, I'm excited. I've picked up a couple of those Epic Heroes figures myself. Got the Moff Gideon in his Dark Trooper Mandalorian armor, and it's a decent line. You know, it's fun. It's fun. It's 5 POA, yeah, but you know what? It's fine. It's just it's a toy at the end of the day, and they're really, really fun figures, and they fit in nicely with TVC as well. So if you haven't got that character in TVC, it's a nice alternative, cheaper alternative as well. Seth says we need to get live action Spacesuit Ahsoka from this series in Black Series. Absolutely, I'm all for the big dome helmets. Get them in. What else have we got? JC is back as well. Those OG Clone Wars cards are unbeatable. I do have a soft spot for the Shadows of the Dark Side box too, though. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I think other than the red and white packaging, which isn't up there as one of my favourites, the Clone Wars packaging overall was just, it slapped, didn't it? Like OG blue and white.
Until we got to 2012. Like,
I didn't. What the
I'm not a big fan of the Maul and Yoda packaging now. I think it lost its identity then. We sort of grouped in with everything else to a point.
Yeah.
I know Legacy Collection, Saga Collection shared similar packaging designs years prior to that, but it's just not my cup of tea.
Yeah. No, I can appreciate that. I mean, I must admit, like, I prefer the Yoda packaging over the Maul packaging.
Yeah.
I just wasn't a fan of the colour scheme on the Maul one, but I loved how in your face and garish that green Yoda box was. So
I think that packaging, the last packaging for the Clone Wars, that was like a nail in the coffin.
Yeah,
I think that's why I associate bad memories with it, because it's like
it could very well be the case with me, Dan.
Can't end it there. Can't end it there. Come on now. Come on.
Well. It's a line fondly remembered, but yeah, packaging for the most part with Clone Wars just slapped throughout. Like I said, OG white and blue, Shadows of the Dark Side. Bring it back. We've got Toby in the chat as well. Give us accurate Clone Commandos, Delta Squad, Do Omega Squad, Battlefront repaints, Bad Batch, Gregor, all of them I'd buy. Right there with you, Toby, and we will get to that in just a little bit. So, let's dive into the meat and bones. So we are here, of course, to talk about Black Series, rumours and reveals. We got a pretty extensive list of rumoured figures for the Black Series in 2025 leaked by the guys over, I believe it was Out of the Basement and Luke Ness Monster. They shared that list between them on their discourse. There's some meaty stuff in there. Some questionable. There's some stuff that I'm like, well, okay, why is that rumoured? I don't really know why Hasbro need to go back and revisit that. Other stuff that I'm like, yep, just put it on a plate for me and let me eat. But yeah, we also got some pretty good reveals towards the end of last month as well. But because it's been a couple of months since we got together for one of these streams, there have been reveals in the time since we've last got together. So we're just going to spend not too much time, but we'll just dive into a couple of them because I think they're worth talking about. And the first one that we got sort of, I think, towards the end of December, I think it was, or early January. I can't remember when this one was revealed.
Yeah.
But it's the Black Series Shadows of the Empire 2-pack with Leia in Bouche disguise and Luke Skywalker in Coruscant Guard disguise. Now, I personally, I received this with mixed emotions.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I'm absolutely jazzed because this is, again, for those of you that know me and follow me on Instagram and YouTube and all that sort of stuff, massive stickler for Power of the Force 2. So to see this figure of Luke get upscaled and brought to life in Black Series, like, plug it in my veins. I'm here for it. I can't wait to get this. Am I excited about another Leia boost? Not particularly. Is it a decent upgrade over the previous release, though? I reckon so. So I'm more than happy to pick this set up, just because it offers something a little bit different. I can retire my old Leia and Boost Disguise figure. I'm not buzzing that they don't have the updated articulation on the knees on this figure, but be that as it may, the head has been redone. Obviously, she's a lot shorter than that original release because I never picked up the archive version. But for me, this is just one of those. I need it for the Luke. And again, it doesn't hit all the feels because Luke feels a little bit inaccurate because they have used Clone Trooper parts for the figure, which I'm not buzzing about. But at the same time, it still looks good enough that I can overlook it and not really care. So this is an instant buy for me. I haven't got it on pre-order yet, but I will be doing so in the coming days. What about you two guys? Are you for this? I think Dan, I think you're probably going to be in the market for one of these sets just because you're of the same ilk as me in the sense that you're a Power of the Force boy.
Yeah, I was the same. I was kind of like, Leia, because I did actually pick up the archive one. So it's great for people who don't have that figure because that updated layer is so much better. I think the head sculpt's different as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been.
Cool.
I was under the assumption at first it was just the archive one thrown in, but they've completely redone the head by the looks of things. It's a brand new sculpt, not just a new.
Okay then. So I'll probably have this one with the helmet off, and then I'll just have the archive one with the helmet on. So
that's what I'm thinking.
Sorted, Bosch. I'm in for it completely. I mean, obviously, like I said, Power of the Force boys. It's just you need them.
Yeah, you do.
As long as they bring out my other fellas.
Yeah.
We've got Shizo, but I want my big butch boy.
We need a buff boy.
I need my buff boy. Yeah.
What about you, James? Excited for it?
I guess so. I mean, I'm not buzzing for it, but
I was just about to say, I don't think this isn't really your era, is it? Because you're a little bit, just that tad little bit younger than us, and I don't think Shadows of the Empire hits you in the same area.
I'm all for getting obscure figures. I've got it on pre-order. I'll definitely get it. The Luke figure's great. I think it's a bit of a dirty move to trap it in a 2-pack with that layer.
Yeah.
They could have just used the same body that they've put Luke on and put a Lando head on it.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping for,
That'd have made a better 2-pack, but, the only reason I think this was part of the last Gifting the Galaxy reveal with the Vintage Collection 3-pack that's got the, whatever you want to call it, the Dark Side Anakin, the World Between Worlds version in there.
Yes.
So I think I was a bit more buzzed about that than I was this.
Yeah. That's fair, man. I mean,
well, that's the only reason why. I might be wrong with that, but I'm looking forward to it. It's all right.
Yeah. No, that's totally fair. I mean, like I say, it's different strokes for different folks, isn't it? It's what's your bag at the end of the day. Like I said, me and Dan we are 90s kids, and this stuff hits us right in the nostalgia because Shadows of the Empire came out when we were itty bitty Padawans.
Oh yes.
And like I said, it's so cool for me just to see like characters like this that came out in Power of the Force brought to life and upscaled in such a modern and detailed line as Black Series. Like I'm pumped for it. I really, really am. I really like JC's point as well that he mentioned. I never really thought of it like this, but this puts a nice spin on it, I think, actually. He's just said, I think in universe it's cool that these guards have modded clone armor. Clone armor was much sturdier than Stormtrooper armor, so it makes sense that they give them to the guards. Do you know what? Yeah. And it also continues that transition period into Imperial armor from the clone armor. I know it's obviously been a few years by this point, but I still like that the Empire is still using elements of the old Republic designs that it makes sense. It does make sense from an in-universe practicality standpoint, maybe not from an action figure viewpoint that, you look at that Power of the Force figure and you think, well, that looks completely different to this, but you know what? They're similar enough, so that's absolutely fine. And I'm very, very happy to see this. So I'm really, really excited for it. Really, really excited, and I think it's going to pair really nicely with Shizor as well, who I do have on pre-order because that was incidentally one of my very first Star Wars figures when I started collecting back in 1996. All those years ago. Oh my god, I'm so old. I know we're talking about Black Series. Oh God, God. Jesus.
Get the ladder walking stick.
I need it. My knees are shot. I know we're talking Black Series for the most part, but I think I'd be doing this set a disservice if we didn't discuss it. It is TVC related, and it was revealed around the same time as this Black Series Shadows of the Empire set. But just it kind of ties into the Black Series because we've seen at least a couple of these characters in Black Series already. So to see them in TVC is really cool as well. And I think Dan's going to get hyper for this set. I'm pretty jazzed for this too. To be fair, it's the Heir to the Empire 3-pack, which I think, I'll be honest, came as a shock. I wasn't expecting to see this in 3 3/4 inch, and I'm really, really happy for all of those that collect TVC and don't dabble in Black Series. Like, I'm really, really happy for them because I feel like this is one of those instances where, you know, you get that the TVC collectors who say, you know, oh, we love all these new characters that we're getting in Black Series to make that transition into TVC. And do you know what? I echo those sentiments, and I feel your pain a lot of the time. So to see this, especially Joruus C'baoth, is really cool. And this format just works so well.
It's not just Joruus C'baoth, though. It's the fact that they gave Thrawn his epaulets.
True.
And the Yassalamari.
Absolutely.
It's Captain Pallion for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I love that. They're doing it based on the likeness of the guy that played him briefly in season 3 of The Mandalorian as well. So
yeah, that's really cool.
I was really worried I'd actually miss a pre-order on this,
yeah.
even though it's still in stock now. I'm just daft, but yeah, that's great.
I love the. I haven't got an image to share just because I just want to breeze through this to get to the main portion of this stream. But the cards for these figures as well look so good.
Beautiful.
I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, they're either inspired by or they are sort of images that were around during the time of Heir to the Empire. And they're not taken from the comic books, but they're certainly inspired by like the novel covers and stuff like that. So, like, it's really, really cool to see that. Really, really cool.
Artist done, which
is yeah. Rather than like photoshopped realistic mock-ups, it's really cool to see those illustrations used. So this is probably one I'm going to grab just for that, to get these on card, because I have Joruus in the collection in the Black Series, and that Thrawn, like I said, the presentation of that figure just looks fantastic. Pallion, I'm happy that the character's been immortalised in plastic, but I'll be honest, I don't really get excited about Imperial officer figures anymore, just because there's been so many of them and they all sort of look the same by the end of it. But it's really cool. It's really cool to see.
Let's be honest.
Absolutely. Yeah, really, really cool. What about you guys? Dan, I know that this is going to be an instant buy for you.
Instant buy.
For that,
let's get it on pre-order. Needs to do it.
For that Thrawn focus that you've got going on.
Oh yeah.
But James, I know you're again quite an era-specific TVC collector, but does this fall into that realm? Because kind of.
Yeah, that's it, mate. I pre-ordered this. Like I said, I was very I was anxious that I'd miss it. I started reading Heir to the Empire at the start of last year, and I kind of fell out of it because the only free time I get is after work to read books, and so I end up falling asleep or almost falling asleep doing it. So I think I got about 30 chapters into it, but what I read was really good. I do intend to pick them back up, but this fits. I've got the Clone Wars Mandalorian figures with the Mandalorian Vintage Collection stuff, because it's almost a legacy of the Darksaber, where this is going to go with the Ahsoka stuff on my shelf because it's very much the legacy of Thrawn. So it's just going to show, the backstory of the character and the origin of him from all those years ago. So yeah, I'm
That's
looking forward
cool.
to this one.
That's cool. I like it. Happy days. Well, I'm glad that it's satisfied all needs. And that's another thing. I just want to throw back and give you a little bit of kudos on James, because, again, for anyone who's not following James on Instagram or checked out his YouTube channel, he's got a banging collection tour up at the moment that is definitely worth checking out. I love the fact that your collection and your displays tell a story.
Yeah.
And you know, like you've just said about that, like showing that progression of a character through a display, like I fucking love that, man. That is so cool. Like my collection is just an eclectic mess of stuff just thrown in, and like I've tried to do it here and there by pairing stuff up, but I love that. Like you've got this evolution of characters in your collection. That is really, really cool. I love that.
It's definitely a labor of love. Like, I haven't kept track of how long it's taken me to, make these displays or come up with them. Sometimes they just pop into my head. I'm like one of them mad historical professors that wakes up and they've got like the formula to change the world. Mine's just like the formula or a thought to change something that I look at on a daily basis. So it's considerably less impressive. But there's probably some stupid amount of hours that I've put into it. A lot of people would think, "Oh, bloody hell, what a waste of time there is." But
no, it pays dividends, mate. You've got a very, very cool collection going on, and like I said, for anyone who's not checked out James's YouTube channel, there's or there will be at least a link down below in the video description where you can go and check that out, because that collection tour you posted at the start of the year is absolutely fantastic, mate. Really, really
lots of very nice comments on that as well. So I'm very appreciative to everyone that's taken the time to watch it. 'Cause it's a big boy, it's just over half an hour. Same with me Ghost review that I did. Lots of nice comments on that, and I thought I bored people to death with that one, to be fair. So happy days.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Right, let's move on to the meat and bones, what we came here to discuss, and that is rumours and reveals. We got, like I said, at the end of last month, we got a couple of reveals. We didn't get anything too meaty, so we're not gonna take too long to go through this. I just want to get you guys sort of general thoughts on it. So while we're on the topic of TVC, let's dive back into that realm again with a couple of reveals we got. We did get, again, and this goes back to feeling that pain of TVC collectors. I know there are a few out there that are absolutely pumped about these releases, but in comparison to what the Black Series brings to the table, I do get the frustration. But we are getting a 501st Clone Trooper on the Obi-Wan card, and we're getting an army builder set for the battle droids. Now, if I'm not mistaken, and James, you'll probably be able to correct me on this one, because I'm pretty sure you've got the army builder set of Clone Troopers. Have you?
I haven't, but I think I'll still be able to confirm
you will.
or deny what you want.
But I'm pretty sure that this is just a repack of one of those figures, isn't it?
You would be correct, yes.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, I thought so. I've got to say it again, just to echo what I said about Pelion and the Imperial officers. I've got enough 501st Troopers in my collection that I don't really need this, so that's fine. Happy for those who want it. Same goes for the battle droids. Got plenty of those boys in the collection as well. What about you two? Are you in any way inspired by these releases?
Battle droids, no. 501st Trooper, I was like, yeah, that's not too bad. I was watching the live reveal for these, and they were on about the World Between Worlds in Ahsoka, and then they said, oh, we've got the 501st clone, which we saw in the World Between Worlds, and then this bloody picture comes up, and I'm like, great, because I can tell myself I don't need to buy it now because it's on an Obi-Wan card. Thank you. I was like, thanks very much.
I must admit, it does have to be said. Like I've seen those Clone Trooper army builder sets in hand, and they are superb figures. They really, really are. It purely just boils down to from a personal standpoint, space, and not having the space to dedicate to figures that I already have perfectly fine versions of.
This Clone Trooper mold is really good. I've just got
it is.
They dub it as a clone lieutenant, but it's the Phase 1 501st clone from Ahsoka. I've just got that in recently, and that's mint. That's great. So they're doing a good job with them, but
yeah, definitely.
Little controversy I have with this. I mean, it's a plain 501st clone, fantastic. That is undeniably what all the TVC collector's ones. But they've put it on an Obi-Wan card, and the shade of blue in that series was significantly different, which a lot of people criticised, but it's still wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Doesn't have anything to do with the fact that the shoulder pads are wrong, then. As Crash has pointed out.
I didn't even twig onto that.
Yeah, bloody hell.
I never even noticed that either. Never even noticed.
Shocking.
I almost could have sworn, and I'm probably wrong again, but I'm sure at one stage or another I've had a 501st Clone Trooper figure, because I'm just looking at this image and I can't see it on the picture, but I'm almost certain at some stage I've had a 501st Clone Trooper that's had a white shoulder pad but with a blue stripe along the bottom. And I don't know whether I'm making that up or whether I've seen it somewhere, but
oh dear, that's
I can't. I feel like the original Revenge of the Sith Clone Trooper that came out with the removable helmet on the actual Revenge of the Sith card had interchangeable shoulder plates, and one of them was white with a. I might be, like I say, I might be making it up. I'm probably imagining it, but I'm sure that was a. I'm sure that was a thing. But
I'm doing some intense Googling now, or I'll be thinking about this till we finish the bloody stream. I can't find it.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, there we go. Sea Lion Studios have just pointed it out. I think the original ROTS Tactical Ops clone was painted that way. I thought it was. I knew I wasn't making it up. And I love that it was called Tactical Ops back then as well. It wasn't actually a 501st Trooper. That's a cool little nod. But yeah, no, like I said, happy for those that want this, but it's not for me, I'm afraid. On the other hand, very, very happy to see two figures finally get their aura brought to life, shall we say, in TVC in the form of Balin and Shin. I'm really, really happy about this. These figures look really, really good. And as a massive fan of Balin Skull, I do have to say I will be picking this one up.
I would probably get them carded, to be honest.
Yeah.
You know, I think carded they'd look absolutely mint together.
Yeah. A shout out to Collector Curve 93 as well, who was at the ID Toys event today and saw these in person. And I'm pretty sure over on his Instagram he's shared some images of these actually in hand. Same goes for Phil the Force as well and Twin Sons Collecting. They were sharing pictures from the ID Toys event today, so go and check them out for some in-hand looks at Balin and Shin, and I believe Commander Bakara as well from the Black Series, which is another one I have on pre-order. Very, very excited about. And then, the other reveal from TVC was the Mandalorian Super Commander, but this time around based on his appearance in Ahsoka, at least loosely, because the card says Ahsoka, but the figure says something else. James, in your infinite wisdom,
I love how you already know. I love how you already know that the key's been wound in my back. What a piece of crap.
Elaborate, James, for the fine people watching. Why is this a piece of crap?
Well, it's just a very minor repaint of the Clone Wars version, which isn't where it's supposed to be, because in the flashback in Ahsoka,
on the picture on the card.
I was just about to say.
which funny enough is still a Photoshop, but somehow they've managed to make that look better than the figure itself. So, fucking hell. Number one, it would have, they're clearly trying to save a bit of money, and there's a reason that I can subtly touch upon a little later, as to why that is. So they clearly wanted to put a figure in that would cost them next to nothing. But if they'd have just used the Death Watch Mandalorian and put a different head on it, it would have been closer to its on-screen counterpart than this has ended up being. Number two, you've got the accessories laid out in the bubble as if it actually comes with something instead of keeping the jetpack on his back. So what does that suggest to other figures in the vintage collection where they've said, oh, this character's got to be deluxe? Couple that with the deco on it as well, which is another common excuse for why things have to be deluxe. what the bloody hell's going on? Somebody that will remain nameless has kindly provided me with a little bit of context, and that's that this was a last minute swap out for something else that I don't know what it was going to be, but it was a last minute addition to this wave. This figure was. I don't think it was initially planned for it, and that's why it was a cobble together. But I'm not buying this. I'm not spending my money on this.
That's
Another
fair.
Darth Maul fan? No.
Ah, whoa!
There you
No,
go.
Whoa,
There you
I'm
go.
that
not.
has
No,
surprised
no.
me.
Nah. I've already got it, really, and it's
A better one, really.
Yeah.
Have you got it loose and carded, Dan?
No, I don't actually. That's something I
Ah,
didn't do. But
there you go. See, I'm giving you ideas now. I think that's going to be.
nah.
I thought it'd have been one for the carded collection at the very, very least.
Nah.
Wow. Okay, that
He's not
surprised me.
worthy enough for the horny boy.
That's very, very surprising.
Not to overshadow Balin and Shin with all that negativity, though.
Oh,
They look
no, I was-
fantastic.
Absolutely. Let's
I
go
was
back
just
to
about to
something
say.
positive.
Correct height, correct
Yep.
lightsaber color.
Yeah,
Yes, please.
get in the
That'll
basket.
do.
Get in
That's
the
the one.
basket. Yeah, I'm.
Everybody that I've seen is moaning that they're not coming with the robes, like the
Yeah.
cloaks. Couldn't really care less, to be fair, for how frequently
No.
they have them on in the program. But never
Nah,
mind.
that's it. I think it'd have been nice to see. Don't get me wrong, but you know, I think it's just one of those where it's just good to finally see. This is like the get my words in. Tell you, getting old. I'm having to replace the dentures. This is like the Cobb Vanth situation in the sense that it's just one of those where it's like just bring these characters that we loved in the show to life in 3 3/4 inch, please. And it's like it's been a resounding noise in the community for so long, and it's just I'm glad that it didn't take as long as Cobb Vanth to get these into the TVC. So my ears won't be bleeding for the foreseeable future. but you know, I'm buzzing, man, and I'll argue, in some respects, better than the Black Series versions just because of that adjusted height. But I'm stoked, man. Really, really stoked. But bringing it back, like I said, this is a Black Series. I haven't even named it on the title card because this is the first time we've done a purely Black Series themed stream for the most part. So let's bring it back. 2 more reveals from the end of last month for the Black Series, which again, mixed bag for me. But I'll let you guys take the floor first, at least you, Jims, because I know that these figures are really, really going to hit that spot for you for obvious reasons.
Yep. I mean, you were very happy yourself to get Shadows of the Empire stuff in Black Series, so
there we go.
same situation for me, but different reasons. I know we've sort of already had one of these, and it is a bit of a shame that, minus a few parts, it's a reuse of the Clone Wars cardback version that was released some years ago now. But I think it's the updates are decent enough. I'm not really bothered, to be honest. I see a lot of contention about the legs being the biggest point of reuse, but for me, it's good enough. Lightness is pretty good. Aren't a big fan of soft goods. I don't know why that was a necessary change, but I mean, it looks alright. It looks less clumsy when compared to a lot of the other soft good items that they've come out with. I've already ordered one, so
I think. Do you know what? I think that's the only thing that swayed this away from being instant. This went from instant buy to maybe I'll get it, just based on the fact that it isn't an all new figure.
Yeah.
Like don't get me wrong. I think it's a vast improvement, and I'm probably in the small minority of people that think that the soft goods actually look better than the plastic. The plastic looks good, but I just think this is. I don't know. I think this just appeals to me a little bit more for some reason. And the head sculpt is fantastic, and like the slight repaint of the armor and stuff to make it more Ahsoka series accurate is wonderful, but it's those legs for me that just ruin the figure because
they're not my favourite part. I'm going to be honest
uh,
there. Usually it is, but it's not my favourite.
they're just not good, are they? In this instance, they're no good. You've got to
They're
throw those
good.
legs away.
You've
You've
got
got to
to.
throw those legs away.
Get them out. Come on.
Get
now.
him in the bin. Get him in the
Just
bin.
make sure this is the last time, Hasbro, that you use those bloody legs, because if you use those on a new Revenge of the Sith Anakin, you'll know
Oh
about it.
God, yeah. I really hope
Liam,
so.
Liam Neeson will be on the phone making threats. It's going to be that level.
I just really wish they'd just get rid of them because I don't know whether it was a widespread issue, whether it was just in isolated incidents, but those legs were just so malleable, and especially when they were released on the first Anakin figure from the Black Series, the Revenge of the Sith one. Because that's one of the main reasons. Like, we are so far ahead in action figure engineering now. We are so far ahead in articulation that there was literally just no need to reintroduce 10-year-old janky bendy legs to a figure that could have been absolutely perfect.
100%.
It just ruined it. As soon as I didn't twig, I completely I went into this completely blissfully unaware. I was like, "Yep, buying that." So happy that this is a brand new Anakin because that original Clone Wars one recycled parts and wasn't as good as it could have been. And then when James went and burst my bubble and said, "Oh yeah, Steve, by the way, those legs,
Yeah.
they old," and I was like, "Oh fuck." So maybe I won't be buying this after all. But it's got to be said, like, the head sculpt is better. I've never been a Big Wars head sculpt that came out because I don't know, it just doesn't look like Anakin to me. It's a bit too mousy.
A bit weird, yeah.
Yeah, it's odd. It's an odd head sculpt.
Salt in the wound with this one as well, because the vintage collection version was revealed far more in advance to even when leaks of this were coming out. So we're all sitting here making the foolish mistake that, oh, look at that vintage one, that's so good, or that's what we're going to be getting, but bigger.
Yeah.
No.
Nope. It's one of those. We've got to let them have something, haven't we? We've got to let the TV.
I would have let this one have it if they put it on a bloody stap. I would have accepted it if they put it on a stap.
Do you know what? Yeah.
Colour.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't mind the janky legs because then all I need to do is just pose it up. He's nicely posed on his little stap. He's nothing too fancy. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. To be fair,
talk about retro packaging with that Phantom Menace one that you've got, Steve.
Oh yeah,
blue box.
Yes.
We had that. We talked about this a couple of days ago, didn't we? We were saying like, oh, it'd be so good if they just if they went back and recreated like this, but did it in white and blue, and then dropped Anakin and a stap in it, and then we were just like, why don't you just go the extra mile? Just put 2 in, elongate the box, and recreate that Burma Monastery battle pack. I'd be rubbing the Monday something fierce to that, man. I tell you, Jesus.
Yes.
I say I've only just finished cleaning the slobber up. Don't start again, man.
Dear, oh dear, a lot of Monday rubbing were going on for that. But no, do you know what? It's fine. It's just fine. It could have been so much more, but it is what it is. On the other hand, what is an instant buy was Anakin's counterpart reveal at the end of Jan.
Oh yeah.
Straight in the basket. Straight on the shelf.
Yeah.
It's about goddamn time. That's all I can say for this one. I'm so happy to see this, and it looks superb.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
James, take it away, mate. I'm just going to let you gush for a bit.
It's so good. They could have cheaped out on this because obviously you don't see Rex take his helmet off in the Ahsoka series, and the armor is significantly different in the Ahsoka series. But they did their homework. They knew that none of that mattered. That we just wanted a good Phase 1 Rex. So much so that I've ordered 2 of these, and the AliExpress one's just going to rot in a plastic bag in a box somewhere because it's infinitely superior to this is infinitely superior to that one.
It looks class, doesn't it?
It's
It
so
really
good.
does. Thoughts on plastic Kamer versus soft goods? I'm guessing that you're in favour of this rather than the old.
Yeah,
like the old, because we got soft goods on. We got soft goods
the
on
old
Phase 2
Rex
one.
is the only good soft goods. What's it in my opinion? After that, they were all really horribly brittle and far too short.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
this
Yeah.
is fine for me.
Yeah, I agree. Crash Air Jog says this needed to be done since we got Arc Fodder from the anniversary wave. I was going to use that as a.
Did we though?
Yeah, well, yeah, this is it. And again, Sea Line goes back to that as well, talking about accuracy and what have you.
Yeah.
But I think for me, this is. I'm don't get me wrong, I'm jazzed. I am so excited to get this figure in the collection. Like, I'm really, really ecstatic about it. But it's bittersweet because I would have loved for this to have come out in the place of Clone Pilot Hawk back when they did the the Clone Wars anniversary wave. Like, to get this on that white and blue card in 6-inch form, my God, I would have. I wouldn't have just rubbed the Monday. I'd have joined the modal nodes and jizzed everywhere. Quite honestly. Because that'd have been peak.
It's not like they couldn't have done it back then either. That Hawk.
Why we've only had 4 of those is I'll never know. It's bloody criminal.
It is.
Genuinely.
It really is. I love that as well. JC says, I frequently forget that Hawk exists, and I'm always mildly surprised when I see it.
Yes, yeah,
absolutely.
For me, it's one of those. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, the figure's cool. Uses the old dated body, which I'm not a fan of, but I can totally relate because I'm like, when I have a tinker around and I'm rearranging figures on the shelf, I always get to the back and I'm like, yeah, I forgot you were there. Hiya. But why are you there? Why do you exist? What a weird, like, of all the characters they could have put in that anniversary wave, that was such a weird choice, but it's there. It's there. Oh, God, Crash. Getting me excited again, mate. You mentioned Battle Pack remakes. Imagine a remake of the Arc Trooper Battle Pack. Throw this guy in it. This guy in it. Would have loved to have seen it.
With that big, stupid sniper rifle that had no business being there, but we all lapped it up anyway.
Yeah. And you know what? To this day, he's still on my shelf, holding that sniper rifle proudly. There he is.
Wow.
There you go.
That when I bought that Arc Trooper Battle Pack, I think it was in 2022. That's the only figure I didn't take out of it just because I've got that many Rexes.
Yeah, and it's not even the best one.
No, that's it. Sacrifices had to be made, but that is just stupidly good.
If we're going to talk best versions of Captain Rex in the Clone Wars animated line, they don't come much more definitive than this.
Snap.
Oh, yeah.
Look at that. That just combines my two loves. Clone Troopers and Power of the Force backpacks. That's what we need. Oh, I've just realised he's missing a blaster pistol. Oh, no, he isn't. He only came with one. That's fine.
There you go.
Look at that. Beautiful stuff. Bring that back. Bring that back.
Absolutely.
But I'd love to see that in 6-inch. Do that in Black Series, you cowards. Give us a janky jetpack and a massive sniper rifle, and I'm here for it. I really am. Good stuff. So yeah, I think it's safe to say we're excited for Captain Rex.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
straight in my basket.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, that pretty much wraps us up on reveals for the most part, because we haven't really had anything since. Like I said, in the interim period between streams, we did get a few bits and pieces released as part, or revealed as part of that Gift the Galaxy campaign, and I'm sure the Power of the Force, not Power of the Force, but the Power of the Force campaign that's running throughout 2025 will provide us with some really cool reveals as well. But the main portion of this stream I want to dedicate to something that we don't really tend to get into much when we get together for these streams. We like to do wish lists, and we like to put together, fantasy waves and releases and all that sort of stuff, and talk about the figures that we really want to see in the Black Series. But we never really tend to touch on figures that have been rumoured or factory leaks or things like that. We usually tend to leave that to the guys over at Out of the Basement, who do an amazing job. But a list leaked recently of rumoured figures for the year ahead, and because of what was on that list, I felt we'd have been doing it a disservice, and the Black Series community a disservice who tune into these streams if we didn't talk about it, because it's a pretty meaty list. And there's some really, really good stuff on it. And whether or not any of it sees the light of day remains to be seen. As always with rumours and leaks and all that sort of stuff, initially, take it with a pinch of salt. But if the guys are Out of the Basement and Luke Ness Monster as well, who also played a part in revealing this list of rumoured figures, if their track record is to be believed, then I think it's a pretty safe bet that most of the stuff, at least on this list, is gonna get released. So we're gonna dive into it. No particular order, because it is just a random list of figures that James does have to hand. So if there's anything that I've missed off it, then I'm sure he'll chirp up and throw it into the discussion. But we're gonna touch base on first, because 2025 is the year of anniversaries. We've got the 20th anniversary of Revenge of the Sith, which, again, does not make my knees feel good. But we've also got the 10th anniversary of The Force Awakens, which blows my puny little mind. And rumoured to be a part of the Black Series in 2025. And I know that this is like Marmite. Not everybody's going to be in love with this idea, but get it out of the way first before we get into the really, really good stuff. But on this list of rumours are a series, not just one or two, but a series of figures to commemorate the release of The Force Awakens. Now, according to the list that we have, I'm pretty sure that Out of the Basement and Luke Ness have by name, mentioned that Rey will be a part of this wave.
Yeah.
But just for the sake of open discussion and just throwing that wish list format into the mix a little bit, what figures from The Force Awakens do you guys want to see? And I'm not just talking to James and Dan. I'm opening the floor up to the comments as well. Like, I think for me, it's like I want to see upgrades and I want to see updates to figures that we got as part of that initial run of Force Awakens figures. But at the same time, I want to see new characters. I want to see figures that we didn't get as part of the Force Awakens lineup. So we'll go around. James, we'll start with you. What figures? It can be an update, it can be an upgrade. There's no such thing as a wrong answer. What figures from Force Awakens do you want to see in the Black Series?
Constable Zuvio.
Fuck off! Fuck off!
Hey.
Interchangeable heads, so you can actually have his little cronies.
Yeah.
Don't.
So, I mean, I like to consider myself a man of logic. Rumours, leaks, whatever you want to call it. We know that there's it's pipelined. We know there's a Praetorian Guard coming from Mando Season 3. And I believe the chest armor on those guys is more or less identical to that of a First Order Stormtrooper.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're doing a brand new mold for that Praetorian Guard, it makes sense that would then be reused for a First Order Stormtrooper that's as updated as the clones and Stormtroopers, Imperial Stormtroopers that we've been receiving for the last 4 or 5 years, however long it's been. That'd do me. I'd be happy with that. I was, funny enough, about a week or two before this list came about, before that little logo for the Force Awakens anniversary hit socials. I don't know if you guys have seen that.
Yeah. With
BB-8. I was actually talking to Laura about it and saying, I think, if Hasbro did anything for the Force Awakens anniversary, in my opinion, I'd play it safe with a First Order Stormtrooper and with Kylo Ren just to, test the waters again, because
Yeah.
obviously it's no secret that there was a lot of overproduction and quality control and distribution problems back then.
Yeah.
So it'd just be a safe way to do it. I think those two, it'd be decent bets. Hearing that there's an updated Ray coming, I can only say, thank God, that's brilliant, because
Yeah.
almost everyone that came out, minus the Island Journey one, just had like dog shit likeness. So
do you know what though? I'm gonna play devil's advocate here, because like Sea Lions just said, yes please, that original Geisha Ray figure was ass. But do you know what? I've gone the forces with Jesse route with my Force Awakens Ray, and I did a bit of a custom jobby on it. And you mentioned Island Journey Ray, which is, for my money, the best Ray figure that we've had. Absolutely, hands down, best likeness, best sculpts, best outfit, looks amazing. A simple custom job with that original Ray from Force Awakens, and then swap it out with the Island Journey Ray head. That is the definitive Ray for me, and it's perfect. Like there's nothing wrong with that. Once you've replaced that head, that figure is flawless, for my money at least. So I
actually bought one of those with the idea to do that, but not because I hate the sequel trilogy by any stretch. My sequel trilogy Black Series are all in storage just because of space. So compromise had to be made for the new stuff coming out, and but I did grab an Island Journey Ray for about £7 off Vinted before Christmas, with the intention of doing what you've just said. So yeah, agree. Absolutely.
It really is well worth doing. I mean, I like I said, Jesse posted that video a good few years ago now, and I think I think I was actually out with it on a toy run with you, Dan, when I picked up that spare Island Journey Ray, because it was when we went to the Disney store, when Disney store was closing down, and they were selling off all this stuff for really, really stupidly cheap, and they'd got an Island Journey Ray for something like I think it was about £7 as well. And I was like, do you know what, bugger it, I'm just going to do it, because that original Ray figure does look dog shit. And the job that Jesse did with it looks fantastic. And it does, like I said, once you swap that head out, it's a perfect figure. And there's really no reason to do anything differently with it. So if I was Hasbro and I wanted to make a quick, just I didn't want to spend too much money on releasing a figure that may or may not perform so well at retail, just use the parts you've already got and retool and re-release, and then boom, you're satisfying a need there, and that is essentially all I do. So yeah, I like that idea as well. A Duel of the Fates 3-pack, Starkiller Base 3-pack, Ben, Ray, and Finn. Yeah, I think Finn definitely needs an update. His articulation and sculpt is a bit dated. I think they could really do a solid with John Boyega's likeness nowadays, with the technology that they've got, and the tools at their disposal to do that. But yeah, I think there's a ton of figures that need updating. But like I said, for me, I want to see new characters. At the top of my list, I would love to see the Crimson Corsair, Sidon
100%.
Ithano, in Black Series. So that's one of my favourite character designs from Force Awakens. So I'd love to see that in the Black Series. I'm just trying to think, because we did get quite a few figures in the 3 3/4 inch line that we didn't get in Black Series, which was quite surprising for the time, considering how Black Series was starting to, make traction as the main line. So I think Cold Weather Gear Han.
I'd say Unkar Plot.
I was literally just about to say, Unkar, Sarko Plank.
Yes.
Just some of those weird, more obscure aliens would be really cool to see in Black Series, because I think Black Series could really do them justice. But I also understand, it's an anniversary year. You want to get those core characters back out there. So I would definitely, go back, update Ray, update Finn, get a new Kylo Ren out there. Collector Curve, Los Anteca, absolutely. Yeah, love to see that. Really,
especially because of the comic books as well. I mean, much more fleshed out character.
Yeah, definitely.
I think as well, when we've touched base on some of the figures that we've already had, and just doing a simple head swap, if they do what they did with the Rogue One wave, something I really wish they did when they did that Rogue One wave was actually include some additional accessories. So if they did the similar thing with Force Awakens, like re-releasing Rey, Finn, include some additional accessories, like give Finn a back, like the little satchel thing with the detonators that they plant on Starkiller Base.
Yeah.
That'll be cool. Just the really simple stuff they could do.
Yeah.
Just be like a nice update, nice addition. Yeah, I'll be down for that.
Absolutely.
Also,
Definitely.
re-release that General Hux.
Yeah, the one from the Galaxy's Edge set. Yeah.
Or have it as an interchangeable head with the other one, with the hat.
Definitely.
Gosh, I'd buy that.
Definitely. You know, I'd even go as far as to maybe update Captain Phasma slightly. Get some new articulation on the go, soft goods cape. There's a plethora. Some of the aliens from Maz's Castle, though, primarily for me.
Yes.
I think that's where the real money lies, is getting some of those figures out.
Droids as well. I think droids, that would be a great opportunity. In some ways.
PZ4CO. That was another 3 3/4 inch figure that we got, but we didn't get in Black Series. There's some untapped potential there for The Force Awakens, and I think the sequels don't. You know, say what you will about them as movies, but I think the sequels don't get enough love for their character designs. I think some of those aliens and some of the characters that we got as part of the sequels, they would make for bloody epic figures. So just get that out there. Get it out there. But yeah, what's on the top of your hit list then, Dan, in terms of Force Awakens figures? Like, what's number one for you?
I think, like you said, Crimson Corsair, Quigold as well to go with him.
Yeah, definitely.
General Hux, because I love Hux. But yeah, I think
solid.
like James said, just play it maybe safe, do First Order, do main characters.
Yeah.
See where it goes.
Because it's one of those as well, isn't it, that it's been long enough since those figures were first released. I mean, 10 years is a bloody long time, not just in terms of time, but in terms of, like I said, action figure engineering. So I think if you did put out updates to the core characters, they'd wipe the floor with those original releases.
100%.
I mean, by today's standards, that Kylo Ren figure that was first made available from Force Awakens, not great. You know, definitely needs some work. So
maskless Kylo Ren as well, because the head sculpt on that one.
Well, that's the thing, because other than the exclusive centerpiece, Kylo Ren figure that came with Rey and the Starkiller Base setup and stuff, we've not had a Kylo Ren with photoreal yet.
Not had any of the characters really with photo. Well,
other than Rey, we had Rey, but that's about it. And obviously Han, we got Han, but. Yeah, that is mind-blowing to think that we haven't had a Kylo Ren or a Ben Solo figure with photoreal face printed.
Not even for Rise of Skywalker as well.
That's what I mean. How long has photoreal has been a thing since, what, 2018? 2017, actually. I think it was the Arse End of 2017, wasn't it, when that was introduced? And we haven't had a Kylo Ren figure with an updated face in nearly 10 years,
or
which is mad.
That's like, there's just a list, just such a list.
Yeah, there's some serious stuff to tap into with the sequels. Like I said, say what you will, but nah, I'm here for it. And if they do it I know they can't really do it in an anniversary style, because Force Awakens didn't have its own identity really when it came to Black Series. I know the 3 3/4 inch line got its own card bag, but I can't honestly say I'm that bothered about seeing that in Black Series. but you know, just to do it.
Crappy little accessories as well.
Yeah, give them all a little.
At the very least, what I would like to see if they did some form of an anniversary style packaging is maybe not recreate the red and black box because it was done to death, but get Gregory Titus back to do the artwork.
Yeah,
just for a few of those, because that's almost synonymous with
absolutely
with every sequel trilogy Black Series figure. So
yeah, definitely.
You could do it in the similar style as the 3 3/4 inch one, but then have Gregory Tite's artwork as the imagery
Yeah.
on the
Yeah,
side.
do it as more of a card back.
Like a blending of the two. That'd
Yeah.
be cool.
Yeah, definitely. But no, I'm all in on a Force Awakens anniversary lineup. Definitely want to see it, but I think the only anniversary that we all really, really care about next year is that of Revenge of the Sith. And like, there's a fair few figures rumored on that list, but I think at the top of everybody's list, goes without saying, he's up there. Get Anakin a definitive update in the Black Series, because this is a figure that is long overdue. And like we were saying earlier with that Ahsoka Anakin figure that's coming out, don't do us a naughty, Hasbro. Don't do us a sad. Update the legs.
Update the whole damn thing.
Update the whole damn thing. Yeah, and
Yeah.
make it. Just give us that. Like,
Please don't do what Vintage Collection did and make half of the tunic soft goods and the other half plastic. I don't like that.
See, I don't mind. I'd be happy with it.
If it was the brown, I mean, they did it on the last Black Series one where the brown bit under the leather tabards was soft goods. Like, that's as far as I'd go. I just don't like the inconsistency when it's supposed to be the same material between, top half and lower half.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I think it's one of those where soft goods has come such a long way as well, as like articulation and overall engineering. So the soft goods that they're using now, I think, would be absolutely fine in this instance. But I get what you're saying about consistency, and in that sense, as long as the lower portion of the tunic doesn't hinder the articulation, then that's absolutely fine. Just give it a little split down the side. Yeah, that's fine. I'm happy with that. Definitely. But yeah, it needs an update. Even the archive one was toss. So yeah, we definitely need a new one. And it opens the door for a new Attack of the Clones Anakin as well. Just slap a new head, new paint job on it, new hand. Job good in. But no, it's a figure that is long overdue. We really do need it.
Do you want me to just consult what the list says in regards to it a little bit?
I was going to say, because that was just what I was just about to say, actually. If we cover the bases in terms of which figures are on this list, and then because you've got the list itself to hand, if you want to drop any tidbits of information in there, then go ahead. Yeah, go for it, mate.
It's this, as well as a Obi-Wan from Revenge of the Sith, are both on there in Galaxy packaging. But then they're on there again, and it says in brackets, same new figure, but card back as a convention exclusive. So are we going to see him on the Revenge of the Sith card back, or is it going to be some fancy little box set where they're both in it, and it's like a little diorama scene similar to ones we've seen before?
You've got me thinking.
Or maybe they'll absolutely screw the pooch and do like the lava reflection versions from back in 2005, and we'll all be screaming. But
that'd be absolutely fine. I mean, somebody would be here for it. I mean, I think they'll do it. I think we'll get two. I think we'll get a basic release, and then we'll get one on the Revenge of the Sith card, similar to how Cody's been released.
Maybe foil card back.
Foil cards.
Perhaps just to like with the Phantom Menace ones, just to denote that they are exclusive to a convention. I'm assuming it'll be San Diego Comic Con or Hasbro PulseCon, whatever they do towards the end of the year.
Yeah. See, I was never really a massive fan of those foil cards. I didn't like the card stock. I didn't like the foil finish. I think like doing foil highlights is fine. Like, you go back to the vintage collection that had the foil racetracks and stuff. Yeah. That's absolutely fine. But I think to coin a phrase, to carbonize the entire card.
Mate. Honestly, I'd erased that sack of shit out of my brain. So say no more. In
That's
the
what
bin
I mean.
with that little mental
Yeah,
extract. See you later.
I don't want to see that. I'm good.
Yeah.
Do you know what I
I
would
just
love
want.
to see?
Go on.
I'm going to tell you, because I can't hold it in. Give us the Mustafar panning droid and the platform,
Please.
and do it as an
Yes.
exclusive.
Yes.
Give the panning droid to Anakin in the
Yes.
card. That would fit in so well, and I think the platform with Obi-Wan, and that would just be
Yeah. Do it like the Star Killer set.
yes. Yeah.
You know, just have it be an open box, and that's the display. Yeah. Oh yes.
Oh yes.
Just do that. I mean, I know it's a little inaccurate because Obi-Wan. Well, no, because Obi-Wan does have the high ground. But yeah, I know I've got it flipped around in terms of who uses what. But if they can bring that to life in Black Series,
the state of the soft goods back then, Jesus.
do you know what? I don't mind. The Anakin one's not too bad. I've managed to get that to a point, but the Obi-Wan one, I mean, that is like Saga 06 we're talking. So, you know, it has to be forgiven. But yeah, no, if they can bring that to life in Black Series,
would be beautiful.
Holy crap! Even revisit the centerpiece concept and do it as a centerpiece, I'd be fine with that. As long as the figures
machine as well.
Yeah, man. Strawberry and watermelon flavored lava. I'm here for that. Absolutely. Plug it in my veins and then send me to the hospital. So I've been inhaling chemicals. That's fine. Vader operating table, like Collector Curve says as well. Epic deluxe set from back in the day. Yeah, let's have it. All the Revenge of the Sith. James, you alluded to it a minute ago, but we are rumoured to be getting an Obi-Wan as well.
Yeah.
Again,
another
same
one in need of a massive overhaul.
Yeah, I was just about to say same can be said for Obi-Wan that can be said for Anakin. We haven't had a
interchangeable hands, please, so you can do the
that,
so you can get him in there.
Those type buggers only ever released that with the Phantom Menace anniversary one, didn't they? That particular gesture in hand.
Yeah, but it was with Qui-Gon, wasn't it? They did it with Qui-Gon's hand instead of.
You know, the Obi-Wan foil card. It came with that one, but they hid it behind the name.
Did it actually? I didn't know Obi-Wan came with it as well. I thought it was just Qui-Gon that came with that extra hand. The more you know. The more you know.
But yeah, we need that. That's just
we do.
So iconic.
There's another figure on that list from Revenge of the Sith as well, but it's a little bit more ambiguous as to what iteration we're going to get. So I'm curious to get your guys' thoughts. But we are rumoured to be getting a Black Series Padme from Revenge of the Sith. We all know
Padme, please.
Okay. Agreed. That's going to get soundbite. That's going to get clipped. Innit? That's getting clipped. That's going to be a soundbite right there.
Oh dear. That's going to be Dan's ringtone for Steve now.
Yep. All right. Say no more. Say no more.
Oh dear.
Brilliant. Enough about your search history, Dan. What figure do you want to see? I think, that's fair. That's fair.
I'll take anything, to be honest. Even a pregnant
one. It'd take pregnant Padme all day long. That's fine. That's fine, mate. Whatever floats your boat. Well, do you know what? To be fair, like, I think Revenge, like, as elaborate and era defining as Padme's wardrobe was, I think it's quite difficult to pin down an outfit from Revenge of the Sith of the three prequels that you could be like, yeah, I definitely need a figure of that. For me, all the Padme figures that I want to see in Black Series come from Phantom Menace.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I agree with that.
So it's a little bit harder for me to say, oh yeah, I definitely want this version of Padme, I want this version. If I was going to go with one, it'd probably be that costume she wears at the end of the movie, just to tie it in with Anakin and Obi-Wan, to put that scene together in the collection. But from an aesthetic standpoint, I honestly can't think of one.
I can't think of any from Revenge.
I can think of all the outfits that she has in the movie, but I can't say that there's one of them that I want to see as a figure.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I suppose if they were to do a more ornate one, I would say This Is How Liberty Dies version would be the one to go for. But
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, the end scene, the pregnant version, makes the most sense.
Yeah, I mean, Galacticove said deluxe Padme with Baby Luke and Leia. I'll leave now. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Would it though? Would it though?
Or a dead version with the coffin that are a little more morbid.
I was just about to say, would it down? Would it down?
Yeah, no, okay, I'll see myself out.
Legs akimbo Padme. Absolutely not. Come on, mate. It's 2025.
Oh, I like the idea of having the babies though, because that was a thing that they did with. Oh, right, come on, now. Here we go.
I can't help it. You're leaving it wide open for me, mate.
Oh, wide open.
Fucking hell. Let's move on. Clone Troopers.
Everyone's favourite mass-produced baby.
We're also rumoured for a Commander Neo. Don't get me wrong, it's going to be good to see an official release, but AliExpress did it, and they did it pretty well. So
I'll put my round glasses on and go, well, it is actually still wrong, but
it is what it is, isn't it? Like
if they do this as good as the Rex we've just looked at, then fair play. I'll have a go at that.
Absolutely, and I've got to echo the comments as well. Deluxe Neo and Speeder Bike. I think for me, this is the only way to do it.
Absolutely.
I love Commander Neo. Don't get me wrong. I love his armor. I love his helmet design. But for me, there's other figures that I want to see before this. So the only way for me is to see it with a Bark Speeder, and I think that's something that, I'll be honest, every time I've met up with the guys from Hasbro, with Brandon and stuff, like, it's one of the things that we've lobbied for. He's always seemed really keen to get our thoughts on what small scale vehicles to introduce into the Black Series, and I've always said Bark Speeder. It's the one, it's the one we haven't got yet. We've got Speeder Bikes, we've got Staps now. Get a Bark Speeder in there. So I think the perfect opportunity to do it is with this one. And again, just going back to what we were saying about battle packs and recreating previous stuff, like if they did this in a 30th anniversary style Battle of Seleucami box, with the Bark Speeder and stuff, like, I'd
Great
do
way
it.
to get the Jedi out as well. What's in it?
Stas Ali.
Stas Ali,
yeah, definitely. It's one I'd buy. But like I said, it's good. It'd have to be done right. I mean, if anything, like, just don't do it the same way as AliExpress. Don't knock it out as a clean figure. Weather the damn thing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think that's one of the things that's really, really missing from Black Series clones at the minute is weathering. Like, I'm not just talking about like black scuffs here and there. Like, just give it a wash. Give it a dirty wash. He's riding a speeder through a swamp, for Christ's sake. Let's make him dirty.
Yeah.
Dirty. Dirty.
Not fresh from the the back to tube.
Absolutely.
Get him all grubby.
Absolutely. One for you guys if it comes to pass.
Yeah. Why not?
Because did one of you or both of you get the AliExpress version?
I got the AliExpress.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah. Does it hold up? Is that has that satiated that need for this guy? Or...
Probably has for me.
Yeah, I was going to say it. I mean, for what you see of him, I mean that does the job. Even with the Clone Wars, you only see him once, twice. So, yeah,
it is what it is. Isn't
Bark
it?
Speeder though, I'd be all in. That's a good idea.
Yeah, definitely. There's another clone trooper on that rumoured list. One that didn't really inspire me when I saw it on there, but it's fair enough. Again, like with Neo, if you're going to do Neo, bring him out on a bark speeder. Playing devil's advocate once again.
Yeah.
If you're going to do a 327 Starcore clone trooper, bring out a Gelagrub.
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah.
Come on, 6-inch
Gully
Gelagrub.
Patrol.
Absolutely. Peg warmed like a son of a bitch at Argos back in the day. I remember it well. Going into Argos religiously and hoping and finding one of the gunship ball turret battle packs and being buzzing, and then going back to hopefully get another one so I could have 2 on the side of my gunship, to then go in every single visit. And what came down that conveyor belt?
The Gully
fucking
Patrol.
fucking
Just
Gelagrub
slowly
again.
wriggling down.
Fucking Gelagrub again. And do you know what? Going back to what we said about wishing we'd picked stuff up when it was out, I wish I'd got one, because not only is it weird, but it fetches a damn premium on the secondary market. It's mad how much that Gelagrub Patrol Battle Pack goes for. And I can't believe it. So, yeah, I mean, once upon a time, I would have got so excited for old clone troopers, but like I said, I'm just having to really, really finally curate the space I've got in my collection at the minute, and it's too close to another figure that we'll touch on in a bit. I'm like, I don't need it. I don't.
Yeah.
It's not a must-have. But where do you guys stand? You want one?
I suppose.
Moving on.
If it was a
It's
galactic
mad, isn't it? It's absolutely mad. It's taken the Revenge of the Sith anniversary to get more clones.
Yeah.
Now, there's no disputing how iconic some of them are.
Mm.
Did we not have a Clone Wars anniversary 2 years ago? What did we get? Jack shit.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't even know if he's canon at this point, but I'd have preferred to see Commander Devez over this.
Yeah, Do you know what? I'm there with you on that one, and that's another one they could have done as an anniversary figure, because to see that generic clone commander.
Because they did a red and a green version, like it was unnamed, but I remember that.
Yeah, he was just listed as clone commander, wasn't he, back in the day?
Yeah.
But then he came with like the grappling. That was such a cool release when that came out. I remember again hunting ferociously for that figure in Big W and finding it, but like all the grappling hooks and the rifles and stuff that came with, man, they don't make them like they used to. But like I said, a little bit too similar to another figure that is rumoured on this list that leaked recently, and want to open this one up for a little bit of debate as well, because it is a figure that we've already had in the Black Series. So for me to see it either re-released or updated again doesn't really get my juices flowing. But what would get my juices flowing is if they completely retooled and updated it, and in the same vein as Captain Rex, brought us Commander Bly in his Phase 1 armour from the Clone Wars rather than from Revenge of the Sith. Because that, for my money, that Revenge of the Sith Bly holds up. It uses the old dated Clone Trooper sculpt, but like the weathering on it, the paint apps, the overall sculpt is still decent. And so for me, I think it'd be better to see this. But I think the chances are very, very high that it's just going to be a re-release, or at the very least an update with the updated tooling. But has anything been said in more depth about this on the list, James, or is it just...
it does actually say updated Commander Bly, although the leaks that have come from overseas of actual parts would suggest otherwise, unless they are just going to reuse the old pauldron and the old belt. But I believe it might have been Luke Ness Monster that actually said it on the Out of the Basement live stream. That pauldron only specifically fits that Commander Bly figure because it's glued, but there are tabs that only correspond with that body sculpt.
Yeah, so I think the shape of it as well is quite. It's molded in a way that it's quite. Yeah.
It's very conforming to that particular figure.
Yeah.
But I'd be all for a Phase 1 version.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to release a character, make it from the most iconic appearance. And I mean, Commander Bly's in Revenge of the Sith for what? A couple of seconds?
Yeah.
He's actually a
Yeah.
fleshed out character in the Clone Wars. If they just take that Rex that we've just looked at, use a chunk of that, give us what's on screen now. Removable helmet with those yellow tickets tattoos that he's got on his
that'd be
cheeks. That'll
nice.
do me.
Definitely. So if the general consensus is, because it seems to be like from the comments, like AJ's just dropped in, there's no way they're releasing the same old sculpt. I've got to agree. Like I'd like to think that that's not the route that they're going to go down, and that it is going to be an updated figure. But let's just say, for example, like if the general consensus is that it is going to be updated, do we think the chances are higher that it's going to be? Is there even a chance that it's going to be a Phase 1 Bly, or is it going to be a...
I mean, it's the year for Revenge of the Sith, isn't it? So
yeah.
I guess we chalk it up to this being a pipe dream, but a very nice one.
Yeah, we'll sit on it for a bit and hope. We'll manifest.
Give us a call in a few years, Hasbro, and we'll tell
That's
you
it.
what we want.
Well, thinking about it, sorry. You know they've been doing those Clone and Jedi 2 packs. I mean, while they have said it's a Commander Bly, could this be part of a 2-pack coming with Ayla?
That, or mind you, no, it wouldn't be the Jedi, because I was thinking they could have done the 2-pack with this and the 327th.
Yeah.
Or, yeah.
But
that's the thing. I think that's one of the good things about Black Series at the minute, is that it's so unpredictable. We don't really know what we're going to get and how we're going to get it. So we'll see. I'm hoping to be pleasantly surprised. But I'll not hold my breath, just in case. But speaking of pipe dreams, and going back to what we were saying about vehicles, also on the list, and this is again something that I've manifested for a while. Every time I've met up with Brandon from Hasbro, I've always said, like, come on, if you're going to do another HasLab, or if you're going to put out another Black Series vehicle, make this a thing, bring it to life. I want to see it, man. I need to see it. Like, can you imagine? Brand new Anakin. We're getting we're rumored to be getting an R2 in the Revenge of the Sith anniversary line as well. You know, it only makes sense. Do it.
Wabbing some buzz droids.
Absolutely, man. And I believe there are some little notes on this on the list, James. But let's just fantasy plan for a minute, because I said, like, as much as I've said, yeah, do this as a HasLab and then bang all the bells and whistles in with it. I'll be honest, I don't want to see it as a HasLab, because I have yet to back a HasLab, and that's not because I'm against doing it. I'm thrilled for those of you that have got the Ghost, Mr. Deacon. Jammy little bastard. But it's one of those things. It's like I think in a lot of instances, like the HasLabs, they price people out. They are. It's space, blah blah blah. There's just a lot. There's a lot to unpack with HasLabs that for me it's just like I'd rather you didn't. I'd rather you just did it as a limited, like, especially now, like now that they don't have to rely on high street retail as a taker for this. I mean, I'm thinking back to when the First Order TIE Fighter came out, and they just gathered dust in Toys R Us. Like, nobody wanted them. But now that online is such a massive thing, and Hasbro Pulse is a thing, like, they don't have to rely on retailers to take things like this on and for them to underperform. So for my money, just offer this up as, doesn't need to be a HasLab, doesn't need backers, doesn't need to be 500 quid. You know, put it out there as a limited release on Hasbro Pulse, or as a fan channel exclusive, or wherever. People will still buy it, and it will be more. Just make it more accessible to more people. That's all I ask for this one, because I think it's just it's not something that's so big that needs to be a HasLab. This isn't going to be Ghost scale. Do you know what I mean? you can drop this into Black Series and still make it sizable enough that it's not a massive thing. So there's a number of ways that I could think of doing this, and I really, really want to see it, and I don't want to see people who also want this, like I said, priced out or spaced out or whatever, and have this be so unattainable for them. I really want people who want this to get it. Again, just for nostalgia purposes for me. It was the main toy that they advertised for Revenge of the Sith back in 2005. I remember this being on the page of the Argos catalogue, as being one of the sneak preview vehicles. I remember one of my friends getting this before I did and bringing it around to my house and unboxing it with him and playing with it and being like, this is so cool, I can't wait to see this in the movie. It's just bring that, I want that excitement back. So for me, I would just do it as a limited release, or just something a little bit easier. But like I said, James, I believe there are notes.
Yeah, it says under consideration, unknown if it's TVC or Black Series, was being considered as a standard release. So it's probably TVC, is what it says. Which, I mean, I'd love to see it. I haven't got space for it, but I'd buy it. I agree with what you're saying about a HasLab. If you want all the bells and whistles, and maybe Obi-Wan's as well as Anakin's, then I think it needs a HasLab format to offer two different versions like they did with the Cantina. But I think you can make... See, what I wonder is, at that scale, can they make it so you can get R2 all the way in there, or will that have to be a compromise that's made? Because whenever they make these large-scale vehicles, even in vintage collection, they're still not truly to scale, and they're still stupidly huge. So would this just be a tad underscaled? So because you can see that a normal human sits comfortably in that cockpit. Ironically, they didn't when they were filming it because they had to have their legs hanging out at the bottom. But you take the point I'm trying to make.
I do, because that's the thing. Like, when you look at the ship itself, like, it's not actually that big. No. It is quite a compact little thing. And I remember, like, the original Jedi Starfighters that came out for Revenge of the Sith being really big and chunky and, really, like, quite upscaled to accommodate the figure and all that sort of stuff and all the features. And then I think it was around 2012, 2013, maybe 2014 at a push, we got revised ones, and they scaled them down, and they almost felt as I'll say it, as inferior as they were to the originals from 2005. They felt more screen accurate. So you don't have to go to the lengths of making this a really big, chunky, bloody thing. It could be a nice, small scale. You could put... I would hazard at a push, you could put that out as a Black Series release. I mean, just forget for a minute that it's going to be TVC and we're all going to be disappointed as Black Series collectors. But, I could see this brought out in Black Series and done in a way that, you could charge 100, 130 for it.
You know what? I'm looking at my Snowspeeder. That can fit two figures in it. If they can make a Snowspeeder, why can't we do this?
Yeah. And I get inflation and cost of engineering and all that sort of stuff. So you're not going to get a vehicle like this. I mean, I think I was one of the suckers who bought a First Order TIE Fighter, not considering space. and I think when I got it, I paid about 60 quid for it. And that does feel nowadays like, I mean, quality be damned. It, for the size, it was a bargain.
Yeah.
Wonky wings and what have you aside. But there's no reason why, like I said, there's no reason why, unless you go the HasLab route and you do this with interchangeable panels, or you do it as a 2-pack with Obi-Wan's fighter and all that sort of stuff. There's no reason that this needs to cost 500-600 quid.
Yeah.
And that's my gripe with HasLabs, is that they just cost too much money. And I understand, like I said, from an engineering perspective, and they are limited releases. Not everyone can get one, but it's just that price point for me. It's such a kicker. Such a kicker.
What was the TIE Fighter at retail? 170?
something like that. If 170, I think it was maybe 150 at a push, maybe 120. Because, like I said, when it came down, the cheapest I saw it was 60
I
quid.
think it was more than 120.
I can't remember.
Let's say about 150, 160.
was
I'd
about
pay that.
150,
I'd pay
yeah.
that for this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because
Absolutely.
the snow speed is great, but it's no secret that Hasbro made a loss on that. But they were supposedly happy to do it. I'm sure the team was happy to do it. I'm sure the idiots that were sitting in the chairs behind desks on the top floor were brassed off. But
yeah,
that's what worries me, to be fair, because it's great to conceptualize these things, and you often do get the support of the brand team and Hasbro people. But then when it goes up the chain and the accountants look at this thing,
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You know, especially if they turn out to be like Star Trek fans or Disney fans, and ironically they didn't like Star Wars back then. Maybe they'll look at it, you know, through rose-tinted glasses to an extent and think, "Bugger that! You know, we can't make, you know, a penny off this."
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, what I want to see is one of those fancy limited exclusives, like you were saying, like what they've done with the Sentinel from X-Men '97.
Yeah.
Get this out. Realistically, what I see happening is them doing that, but in the way that they did the E-Wing in TVC, which is crazy, really, because I'll still charge about 100 quid, 110 quid for a TVC one, I reckon.
Yeah, which is mad when you think back to 2005 and the original
20 quid, mate.
20 quid. Can you imagine? Oh, take me back.
Yeah.
Take me back. Take me back, man. Jesus.
And you got those little fold-out leaflets with the rest of the figures and the vehicles on. Oh, man.
Oh, would love it. Would love it. But we can dream. We can dream. We'll see. We'll see what it brings. Moving away from Revenge of the Sith, obviously other additions to the rumoured list are from a little bit, speaking of anniversaries and all that sort of stuff, we're going to move on to the future, to all the way to 2026, in fact, because also rumoured for this year, oddly, are figures from, and again, James will have to lead the way on this one because I think I got my wires crossed a little bit, because I was under the assumption, thanks to the list, that we were getting figures from new versions, should I say, of The Mandalorian and Grogu. But as James probably rightly pointed out, it makes a little bit more sense that we're getting figures from The Mandalorian and Grogu. So the list goes into a little bit more detail, but I think one figure that we know for a fact we're probably going to get, just based on his appearance in the Mandalorian series and the fact that we've seen him in the trailer, is Big Zeb Orrelios in his flight gear. And James, do you want to just touch on this a little bit more? Because, like I said, I think that list goes into a little bit more detail.
Yeah, so Zeb is rightly so on this list. A few weeks after this list went out, it might have been sooner than that, actually, because a lot of the comparisons that were being drawn were between this and Yak Face's master list for upcoming releases, and all of the Mando and Grogu stuff did eventually move to, like, they were taken off this year's list, so they were moved to 2026, not to confuse people. So I don't think we're going to see them this year, although, you know, you could make an exception for Zeb if he's on a Mandalorian, in a Mandalorian box, I guess.
Yeah.
So you've got...
So with that... Sorry, go on.
No, you're all right. So you have got Zeb. It does say Mando and Grogu, so, you know, theorize which versions you're going to get. And then there's two that are blanked out. So you've got a certain character, it says Mando and Grogu, so that's what they'll be from. And then another one that's blanked out, it says Mando and Grogu, same ones from Book of Boba Fett. Now, originally I thought this would be a figure that we'd already had for the Book of Boba Fett, just repackaged based upon an appearance.
That's why I thought we were just getting Mando and Grogu.
Yeah.
But apparently, according to Lukeness Monster, this is supposedly the Hutt twins from the Book of Boba Fett series.
See, that
will
blows my
appear.
mind.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Take it with a grain of salt. I mean, I'm not knocking it by any means because I think that'd just be really cool to see.
But how the hell do you do it?
Oh no!
Yeah.
How do you get the Hutt twins as
Just,
basic
I mean,
Black Series releases?
for whatever price they're going to end up charging for something like that, taking into account what they charge for the anniversary reissue of Jabba a few years back. All I can say is I hope it comes with a litter and about 20 tiny, really agitated people to carry them. But yeah,
I think something like that might work better in TVC than it would in Black Series.
Yeah,
I'll advocate for it till the cows come home, but I can't see that myself. But no, I'd be happy with just Zeb. To be fair, I mean, up until this point, I mean, the Mandalorian movie is pretty up in the air. We don't really know what it's going to be about or who's going to be in it. We've had rumors. We've had, according to Sea Lion, potential leaks, but keep those to yourself because I've not read anything. And the last time I read a leaked plot, it was for The Rise of Skywalker, and I thought I was reading fan fiction. So you can imagine my absolute horror when I got to the cinema and everything that I'd read unfolded before my very eyes, and I was just I will never forget sitting in that cinema and everything that I'd read that I was like, that's not going to happen. That's shite. As it started happening on screen in front of me, I was like, "No way! I can't believe I've spoiled this for myself." And from that point, I knew exactly what was going to happen. So I'm not going to do that this time. I know we're probably not going to get the same horrific outcome, but I'm not going to do it to myself. But one other character that we've had rumored as part of the Black Series rumor list that probably is in need of a Black Series figure anyway, but it's really, really strange to me that he's being rumoured to be a part of the Mandalorian movie, is Ember.
Yeah.
Now, he's on the list, and I'm assuming it's going to be based on where he is in the standing on that list as part of the Mando movie lineup. But
strangely, it just says Embo.
And his dog.
And his dog.
And his dog, who I couldn't find a picture of for the deck. But so what do we think about that then? Like, let's just talk for a minute about not just potential as an action figure, but the potential of Embo in the Mandalorian movie. Like, where do we stand on that?
I don't know. I don't know if that's like fan service.
That's what I mean.
To a degree,
especially the fact that he's
Dave in the film.
Especially the fact that he's been rumored as the main antagonist, like that. I can't picture that. I can't believe that if the Mando and Grogu movie is going to be how the Filoniverse wraps up. I can't imagine I can imagine Ember being the main protagonist because it's Dave Filoni, but at the same time, I just can't picture something of that magnitude, the story of that, that of those proportions being wrapped up with a villain.
I think
no disrespect to Ember, but I just can't see it.
See, how do I explain this? It's an odd one, right? So, I think it was misreported in that regard. Not that I've gone out of my way to read anything. I wouldn't even call them leaks about the plot. I'd call them just theories based upon the casting information that's been revealed. I would not say that Embo is a main villain. I'd say that if he is in the movie, then he's just because we know that Rat of the Hutt's apparently supposed to be in it. Fantastic, long time coming.
Great casting as well.
I basically think that he's going to just be one of the bounty hunters that's got something to do with that if he gets kidnapped or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to be a main villain. For one, he doesn't talk basic. I've got no issue reading subtitles, but I don't think you know, I don't think, what if they're trying to get people into the cinema and bums on seats, that they're going to expect them to be familiar with this character to begin with.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But something else that I think we're forgetting is it's not uncommon for them to just throw red herrings out there now to hide actual castings and use of other characters. So maybe they're just throwing this into the wind, like they maybe would have Plo Koon for the Mandalorian season 2 if that had have leaked.
I was just about to say
until
that.
I see something on screen, or until I see a figure actually, you know, physically leak or get revealed, then I'll, you know, what?
No, that makes.
I'll take it with a pinch of salt, but I'd be happy to see a figure of him in the Black Series. Don't get me wrong.
And that's where I think as well, because when I saw that list, I was thinking, oh, they're going to do an Embo with his dog as a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. Then if he is in the Mandalorian movie, then they do a separate version of him. But then, like James has said, could it just be the fact that they're doing Embo from the Clone Wars? He'll come with his dog. It'll be a deluxe.
Yeah.
These lists can get very easily misconstrued. And I think, like we just touching base with the two Hutt twins, I can't see them doing them as Black Series. Maybe 3 3/4 inch vintage collection. But what if they did? What if the twins have been misconstrued to be actually Rot of the Hutt? Are we getting a Rot of the Hutt figure?
Yeah.
I often wonder with these lists, like things easily get misconstrued, and it's something that may pertain to one thing, and someone's just connected the dots. In the wrong way, possibly.
It could just be a situation of coincidence, because I believe.
Yeah.
I don't know which order it happened in, whether it was like the online supposed announcements or this list. One followed the other day after day, whereas Embo's going to be in the Mando and Grogu film. Out comes a list with the figure on, or the list with the figure came first, and people were like, oh, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
And then that information went online. It was one of the two.
Like Chinese Whispers, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
One person says one thing and it changes into, oh, well, it's going to be a movie. It's, nah.
So let's just say then, let's just eliminate all the theorizing and is he, isn't he going to be in the Mando movie? Like, as a Black Series release with, you know, dog or sans dog, like, are you what a stupid question to ask someone like James. Are you down for an Ember figure in the Black Series?
Absolutely, yeah. I was trying to think of a quirky phrase to come out with. I'll tell you what came into my head, which makes no fucking sense. There's a bit from Breaking Bad where anyone would ask Hank a question and he'd respond with, "Well, does the Pope shit in his hat?" But as we all know, that's not actually something the Pope would do. So,
well, we don't know that, James.
Well.
Have you ever sniffed the Pope's hat?
No.
Right then. Well, there you go.
There we go then. We'll go with that then, eh?
No, you know what though? Like, if it is with dog, then deluxe the shit out of this figure, because if it's even if it's to anywhere near the sort of standard that original Clone Wars figure in 3 3/4 inch was, then this is going to be a solid release in Black Series.
Yeah.
Whether it's from Clone Wars, whether it's from Mando, who gives a toss? Like, Embo in Black Series is gonna slap. What a figure! And it's just like, it's one of those as well. Just get the obscurity in there, get the aliens, get the bounty hunters. Just give us that. Like,
that's another thing as well. Is it's got to be a 2-pack, because there's no way that on shelves in America you're going to walk into Walmart or Target and see on the shelf there's Embo. Oh, fantastic! And then in a little box next to it, Embo's dog. It's not going to happen, is it? Come on.
No. And that's why I think the San Diego Comic-Con thing would come into play.
I agree, Dan.
Yeah.
It's that bonus accessory. It's the Leia hologram table.
Yeah.
It's whatever the hell else we've had. It's the First Order flag in this sense.
Yeah.
That's what we get.
Well, from one potential deluxe Black Series figure from the Clone Wars to another. I mean, how long have we been waiting?
Oh, I know what's coming. I was just running down the list to see.
I mean, let's just take a moment to appreciate His Majesty. Like, look at him. I remember, I think it was recently as well, I was scrolling through the Facebook memories thing on my channel page, and I remember I'd shared a comment that was made from a New York Comic Con that must have been 2013, 2014, that said Pong Krell is coming to at that point it must have been the 3 3/4 inch vintage line or whatever it was, and it was actually somebody from Hasbro actually said, yeah, Pong Krell's coming. And since that comment was made,
Nothing.
we've had nothing. We've not had it addressed. Everybody seems to have forgot that was said, and a character with such like popularity as Pong Krell from a show with such popularity as the Clone Wars, like, it just feels so wrong to me that he doesn't already have a figure.
Mm-hmm.
But
from Hasbro as well, like the granddaddy of the Star Wars toy market.
that's what I mean. The fact that we got a Lego figure of him before we even got an actual
there's
figure.
been a pop before a figure, so
there has, which I actually got for Christmas. There he is.
nice.
Look at that show and tell. And you know what? Like, say what you will about pops. If you're a pop fan, you're a pop fan. If you're not, you're not. But look at that, man! Like, how cool is that? Look at the size of his fucking head. He's beautiful. And I mean, his saber's a bit bent, but that's Funko for you. But imagine that in Black Series.
Oh yeah.
Oh, baby.
It's good that he's a bobblehead because he's such a know-it-all as well.
Exactly. Like, dickhead. What a dickhead. But
we love
him. It just feels weird to me that he doesn't have a figure yet. But at the same time, it's one of those figures where, again, just to play devil's advocate, I'm kind of glad that it has taken this long, because I think where we are at now in terms of how action figures are made and the quality that they are and stuff like that, this is going to be not just the first. It's not just going to be the first version of Pong Krell, but it's going to be the best and possibly definitive, potentially only version of Pong Krell we ever get from Hasbro. So I'm glad that they've waited this long. Again, I'm going to take the rumor with a pinch of salt, because, you know, this guy's been up there on many people's lists for so long.
Disappointed once.
That's what I mean. So I'm willing to just, you know, give this one a buy and wait it out and see what happens. But otherwise, like, yeah, it needs to happen. And I think, you know, you've got the Black Series Deluxe format that I think this figure lends itself perfectly to, just due to his size and how he's going to fit in the box and stuff. But yeah, I just think, like I said, if this figure is to come out in 2025 and as part of the Black Series, it is just going to be such an incredible figure.
Immediate pre-order.
Absolutely.
Like, no messing about.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't think there's any more that can be said for him other than that, is there? No. It's just gotta happen. If they do this in the same vein as like a Gamorrean Guard or a Zeb, you know, size-wise, chunky-wise, just make him a big, girthy boy and I'll buy it. I'm there for it. Can't say much more than that, really. You guys in? James, I know you might not really want this one.
Well, I mean, I was just thinking, I'll forever be salty that we never got it in the animated line, but I suppose I'll forever be content if we do get a Black Series version. So
yeah. As the old saying goes, oat's better than no.
That's the one.
So,
beggars can't be choosers.
That's it. So, as we move swiftly on throughout the list, because I'm getting a little bit conscious of time, because we're running at over 2 hours now. I didn't think we'd be here this long, but there we go. Obviously, we know from the small snippets of footage that we've seen from the Mando and Grogu movie that snowtroopers are going to play a part in the film. And we've just had the Vintage Collection Snowtrooper released, but also on this list is a Snowtrooper Commander, which another one of those. It's like it's another trooper that we've had in the 3 3/4 inch Black Series actually, back in 2013. Decent figure in its own right. Is this going to be an Empire Strikes Back Snowtrooper Commander? Does it tie into those rumoured figures such as Ember, such as Mando, such as Zeb that are going to come from the Mandalorian movie? Like, where does this one fit in, or is it just one of those that's like, yep, we're doing a Snowtrooper Commander. There you go. And would you guys be bothered about it if they did?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll take it.
Sound more enthusiastic, James. I'm begging you.
I want a new one. I don't want it on the existing body if we do get one, whatever it is, because I don't.
Well, there's a lot of differences.
I think it's very good.
There's a lot of differences between this and the original Snowtrooper, aren't there? To be fair, so I think it would be a brand new sculpt. I
think they'll just upscale what they've done in TVC. Obviously, if it's the commander, it'll have those specific, whatever it has, the rank badge and the different blaster and whatnot.
I mean, for my money and my mileage, I think the Snowtrooper Commander is a better design than the regular Snowtrooper. Don't attack me, I'm sorry, but I just think there's something a little bit more intimidating about that mask, like the fact that it's like a solid. The helmet's slightly different. It's just like, I don't know. It just looks a little bit cooler. And I love the gauntlets on the gloves. That looks cool. The rank badge is really a nice touch. And I think this is better than the regular Snowtrooper design. So I'd be down for this in Black Series. Absolutely. And I'm not bothered where it comes from, whether it's from Empire Strikes Back or The Mandalorian. I think we've talked about this in previous streams and stuff, that the Snowtroopers for so long have been so synonymous with Empire Strikes Back that it almost feels weird to entertain the possibility of seeing it from any other media, because we've never seen it in any other media other than video games and stuff. Like the fact that we've never seen it in any other movie or show, it feels like it's almost exclusive to the Empire Strikes Back, and that to see it knocking about in any other parts of the Star Wars universe will feel strange. So I'm for this, not just as a figure, but as a bringing the Snowtroopers back. Like, I was buzzing to see the Scouts back in Mando, so to see this back in other media is really, really cool. So I'm here for this one.
It's a nice enough variation just to mix up your ranks as well. So I'd take it. Definitely. I'm not bothered what damn box it comes in. I'll probably end up getting it.
Cool. Happy days. There's a lot of troopers on this list, actually. So diving back into the prequel era, more specifically the Bad Batch, we have Imperial Commander Cody, which will be a very, very simple repaint for Hasbro, given the fact that they've only just released a new version of Cody from Revenge of the Sith. So this is quite a simple release.
What took them so long?
I'm going to be honest. I'm impartial about this one, to be honest, because I prefer Cody in orange. I don't like him in grey. It feels wrong. It feels cruel to do it to him. So I like him with a bit more colour to his palette. So I will probably sit this one out. But I believe between this and a rumoured Commander Wolf figure in the Black Series, there's been rumblings not just of new figures, but of new media on the way as part of this list. So James, if you want to dive in on that one.
Well, it's the list actually specifically states Lucasfilm working on a new clone-centric animated show. Updated Commander Wolf as part of the line for that show. Which, I mean, that's like the worst kept secret ever. Lucasfilm developing clone-based animation shows. I actually read something the other day that somebody has allegedly received a tip-off, somebody that works in the media, saying the Clone Rebellion show is coming. I think it's about damn time, because I'm still waiting for that integral part of the story to come out that gives us the reason as to why Rex and the boys are so reluctant to join up with Phoenix Squadron and Rebels.
Yeah.
So
I must admit that was
Yeah.
definitely something that I thought was going to be touched upon more in Bad Batch when we see Rex and Wolf for the first time, and then with Cody and what have you. I thought we were going to see like the formation of that plan, and the early days of that situation play out in Bad Batch. So I was surprised that we didn't. I'll be honest. The rumor of a new clone series, that gets me a little bit more excited more than the potential for a new Commander Cody in desaturated colours, and I'm unsure. Like I think because the upgraded Commander Wolf has been tied into this new show, I'm not as excited as I should be for that, because I don't know what he's going to look like. For all I know, it could just be an updated version of the Wolf we already have on the new body. So that's just going to. Do I really want to see that again? Not necessarily. But do I want to see a version of Commander Wolf from Rebels? Absolutely. Do I want to see a version of Commander Wolf how he appears in this new series, depending on what he looks like? Yeah. But don't retread the same water. Give us something new. I think that's what it is, and that's why Cody in this instance just doesn't quite. Because the idea of Commander Cody being a part of the Empire post Order 66 is something that I think a lot of us have always thought up in our minds, and we're like, well, what's Commander Cody going to look like as part of the Empire? And I don't know if you guys have ever seen it, but somebody did a custom figure of a Commander Cody years and years back. Might have even been back on the old Imperial Shipyards boards, if I remember rightly, but it was more of a stormtrooper with orange flashes on the armor and a modified helmet, and it was more Imperial in its overall look. Whereas, and I think that would have been really cool to see. I think seeing Cody in his same armor from the Clone Wars, but just with grey on it instead of orange, it's a bit. Oh, they could have done maybe a little bit more with that. But that's just me. I don't know whether you guys feel the same about that or not.
I like it. I don't mind it.
I like the grey, just because it's kind of sad seeing him with this, him and the boys in yellow, orange, isn't it? Orange. And me getting my colours mixed up.
Yeah.
And then seeing him in pure grey, and then working for the Empire, and
Yeah.
I like it.
It makes more sense from an from an in-universe standpoint. It does make more sense, but as a figure, it's not. It's just not as inspiring.
It's a bit vanilla, isn't it? It's a bit.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Yeah.
It's all right. I'll take it, but
it's all good.
Yeah.
It's all good. But animation seems to be the hot topic as part of this list, and we're making our way down now into the final few. One figure I am very excited about that is on this list, but is still up in the air because we don't really know what version we're going to get, at least not to my knowledge, but it is the Jedi Temple Guard, which I am more than here for, but like I said, I'm curious to know which version it's going to be. So we obviously have two versions of this character to go with. We've got the one that we see in Rebels as part of Kanan's vision when he sees the Inquisitor in his Jedi Temple Guard form. And then we also have the Jedi Temple Guards that we actually see in the Clone Wars that escort Ahsoka to what ultimately causes her to leave the Jedi Order itself. Which came out as a figure, I think, back in sort of 2014.
Yeah,
as part of
it
that
was
Saga Legends.
POA. And
that is worth stupid money.
Yeah,
I'm really glad that I have all these things to hand and they've all been relevant. But there he is. That's because I didn't get a picture of the other one for references. So there you go. That's the Clone Wars version, which to this day, given the character selection that we got in that 5 POA lineup in 2014 around the time of Rebels, it blows my mind that this figure ever got released.
It was such a weird one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Really,
but for a 5 POA figure, it's so damn good. It's
my assumption would be that's really the one that we're going to get.
You reckon?
It's the one we get.
Just doing a little bit of sleuthing, because some weeks before this list came out. I don't remember where. I think it was just on Out of the Basement's Discord, which is, it's that's a fun place to be if ever you guys want to have, a little natter to, I don't know, fellow collectors. Doesn't have to be Star Wars, loads of stuff. I feel like I'm flogging some double glazing windows or something, but no, great chaps, all of them. Nice little safe space for everybody that collects action figures. It's well worth checking out. But you get all cool little tidbits of information. And Yakface teased in there that there was going to be a Clone Wars figure that wasn't any of the big names like Barris or anything like that, but it was going to be a lightsaber wielding character, is what he teased. And I don't think a couple of people might have guessed it. There he is.
The man has arrived. Speak of the devil and it shall appear.
And supposedly people were saying, but the list actually does say this is the figure that Yak alluded to some weeks ago. So I would assume it's the Clone Wars version, but I'd be happy with either. I'm not particularly bothered.
Just to play devil's advocate a little bit from Hasbro's side, do you not think that maybe it would make more sense for them to do the Rebels version just based on the similarities between this version and the Black Series Grand Inquisitor from Obi-Wan that we've already had? Just because it'd be quite a simple repaint and retool. Whereas a Clone Wars one would be a brand new sculpt from the ground up, wouldn't it? And I know that we are moving away from that. Hasbro don't tend to do that as much as they used to. But I'm just thinking, taking that Shadows of the Empire Luke as an example, like, would they just retool the parts they already have to make this version, with it being a little bit easier?
It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, I'm just eyeballing my shelves now, to be honest. If that's how they want to do it and they're going to give us the removable mask or whatever they do, then make it, the Grand Inquisitor before it was the Grand Inquisitor. But yeah,
I must admit, I'm with you guys though on this one. I want to see the Clone Wars version.
Yeah,
because it's the best looking one. That when you talk about shelf presence, that figure, sign me up for two.
Yeah,
get him flanking Ahsoka.
I was gonna say getting a couple of them would be a must.
Yeah, they're gonna look so good on shelf. So
please,
good.
Hasbro, get the lightsaber blade length correct, because we all know that you can't do that properly. So Baylan Skollin is 27-foot lightsaber blade. These need to be significantly shorter than any you've made so far.
Definitely. But speaking of Baylan's also on the rumor list. Which is interesting, based on recent developments regarding Baylan's character that we heard in the media. So obviously, Ray Stevenson sadly left us a couple of years ago. And so for Baylan's story to continue, it does appear that a recast is needed, and a recast is what we're going to get. And we are rumoured at the moment. Nothing's been made official. I mean, it looks to be pretty concrete for now. But until we hear anything official, let's not jump to conclusions. But it is rumoured that Rory McCann is going to take over Baylan's role, and the role of Ray Stevenson in Ahsoka Season 2. And so the Baylan figure that we're rumoured to be getting in the Black Series is going to be with Rory McCann's likeness. And for those of you that don't know, Rory McCann is the guy who played the Hound in Game of Thrones. He's the Yarp man from Hot Fuzz. From a figure standpoint, let's just assume that it's going to be a retooled Baylan with a new head, maybe a different robe, because we see him with which would fit his character quite well if it is Rory McCann that we're getting in Season 2, with that big, elaborate, wolf skin robe that he wears at the end of Season 1. That's going to look pretty cool. But let's just step away from action figures for a moment and talk about the recasting choice for this. What do we reckon? Because I'll be honest, I can see it. I'm here for it. And I think Rory's going to do an amazing job if it turns out to be the case that he's taken on the role. But he was not someone I was considering. I'm going to be honest.
I mean, I wasn't even considering anyone really how they were going to even tell Balin's story after the tragic passing of, you know, the original actor. The way I see it though is Rory McCann, the Hound. All I was thinking is the Hound in Game of Thrones was very disfigured, and I can imagine looking for an actor that can act under prosthetics. I'm thinking, is he going to be disfigured? Is he going to go to... Because isn't he meant to be travelling to the world between worlds? That's the whole potential thing that he's looking to do.
I mean, if you believe the rumours online, or
that's the thing.
He speaks in season 1 of there being a higher power, and this higher power, what I expect it to be is a link to Mortis from the Clone Wars, which would be, I mean, we've had the father, the son, and the daughter, so in my opinion, it makes sense that we get to see the mother, which is Abeloth, if what people online are saying are true, which may or may not link into these potential rumours that they're trying to close some sort of a deal with Natalie Portman to return as Padme, because if Anakin is essentially the role of the father, it makes sense the mother would take on the form of Padme in a sense to you know, piss him off, to cause a bit of a stir in that way.
Crikey. It's getting deep.
I don't necessarily think he's going to be disfigured.
No, I must admit,
not to completely
that's fine.
Rory McCann in real life. He's got quite the receding hairline, if that's what you want to call it. I think that they've looked for somebody that they can, you know, potentially do a bit of Gandalf into. So maybe change the nose up slightly, sort his beard out, the hair. Somebody that's going to resemble Rey whilst also noticeably being somebody different.
I think what's most important as well is just finding somebody that can bring the level of gravitas that Rey brought to the role as well, because I think there's a reason that Balin ended up being a lot of people's new favourite character, should I say, just because of how Rey brought that character to life. It wasn't the fact that the character was just exactly. It was the portrayal itself. It was the performance that really brought that character out. Like his dialogue and his motivations and his overall presence and role that he played in the show. You know, that's speaks for itself. But for my money, Rey brought such presence to the role itself. Like, it's finding somebody that's going to be able to match that for me, and that's why initially I was like, well, do you know what, Rory wasn't somebody that I was considering. He would probably be like, I would never even entered the conversation in my mind. And I think part of that is because I've not seen Rory in anything else where he's carried that. Like, don't get me wrong, the role of
sort of presence.
The role of the Hound in Game of Thrones is one of my favorite characters in Game of Thrones. I think it's fantastic, but it's so far removed from Balin and his mannerisms and his attitudes and his outlook and stuff. So
the Hound would literally tell you to fuck off, whereas Balin would do it in a more pleasant
Shakespearean way.
Yeah.
So it's like it's more philosophical. So I think for me, it's just the fact that I haven't seen him in anything like bringing a role like this to life in anything else. So it's hard for me to envision it. For me, the aesthetics are a non-factor, because whoever it's like the Dumbledore situation in Harry Potter when what's his name? I always forget his name. I feel awful. Harris, who played Dumbledore in the original in the first two movies, and then was later replaced by Michael Gambon when he passed away.
Richard Harris.
Richard Harris, that's the one. Thank you. When he passed away and had to be recast, and Michael Gambon took on the role, there was differences in the voice, there was differences in the look,
Yeah.
you know,
And presence.
but
Yeah.
but
Mm.
but we never questioned it, and eventually that was Dumbledore. And I don't want to get to a point where, you know, we look at Rory's performance and we go, well, that's Balin, because I think Ray just fucking smashed it in, and that was a performance that we don't want to, you know, take away
No, definitely.
or anything. But I don't think how he looks is any, you know, Alden Ehrenreicher's hand, for example. You know, it's recasts and that and things like that happen. It's absolutely fine. We just go with it. But it's finding that level of, you know, just what he.
I think I was just thinking in the terms of like the previous performances that he's done. A lot of it is, you know, like with the Hound, the fact that he has used his face, but I can see him without it. Don't get me wrong. I just thought maybe that was going to be they'd maybe play into that as a way to explain a bridging point, possibly. I don't know, but I'm here for it completely.
As a side note, I mean, it's no, it's not a difficult thing, is it? I hate the fucking internet. So believe me,
and that's the line. That's it. There's nothing else to follow that. He's just letting you know.
The first thing I thought of when, I mean, with you saying whether it's to be believed or not to be believed, with stuff like this, the first thing I do is check, as the Hollywood Reporter posted something about it, because they accurately predicted all of the character appearances for Mando season 2. So that before I entertain anything, I'll have a look at that. I was like, right, okay. I'm so fucking happy that it's not Liev Schreiber or Jared Butler, because half of the idiots online will just sit there and go, he looks a bit like him, cast him.
Yeah. It shouldn't
bugger
be
off. It doesn't need to be somebody with such notoriety like that. And obviously, you know, it's a Hound from Game of Thrones. It was a massive show. It's like, yeah, but it was shit towards the end, so it's not anymore. So,
yeah, true.
You know, I mean, I'm still baffled. You know, to each their own, but I'm still baffled that there are people out there online that will make it a conscious effort every day to comment on it, whether it's a Hot Toys reveal or a Facebook ad. Ahsoka was shit. Dave Filoni don't know what he's doing. That man has never steered me wrong as far as Star Wars has gone. So if he's made the conscious decision and looked at hundreds of different actors for this and picked somebody out of the grass, then I trust that man's decision to deliver, you know, a story that he would have entrusted Ray to do himself. So
100%.
Yeah, couldn't say it better myself, James.
Yeah,
absolutely agreed. But with that in mind, then, because I think, you know, Balin is an action figure. We've seen what Hasbro can do. They'll smash it with another one. Hopefully, it's different enough that it warrants a purchase. But also rumoured are more figures from season 2 of Ahsoka, which we now know is happening. We've had the confirmation. We know it's on the way. Hard to speculate at this point what's going to come from it, just because we don't know where it's going to go. So let's not. I wanted to speculate on figures from season 2, but it's impossible to do, because we you know, prior to seeing Ahsoka season 1, we couldn't have fantasized about what figures we would.
I'll tell you what it'll be. It'll be Ahsoka from the latest one, and they'll put cape on it. And that'll be it.
Yeah.
And then we'll get the season 2 Ahsoka 2 years down the line.
Absolutely. There it is. Well, we have also on the list is a Padawan Ahsoka, but not the secret. I've dropped a bollock because I've pictured the wrong one that's on the list. So the one that's rumoured is from Ahsoka season 1, of course, and it's from the episode 5 flashbacks that we all know and love. The figure that's rumoured isn't the Siege of Mandalore version, as I have incorrectly slid into the deck, so I apologise for that. But we are apparently getting a version of Ahsoka based on her appearance as a Padawan, similar to the figure that we've already got that came out a year or two ago, but had a much more animated look to it. Whereas this version is going to be based on Ariana Greenblatt's portrayal of the character in the show. So with that in mind, and in a lot of ways, it's very similar to the Bale and Skull question: is does that necessitate a new figure, and doesn't warrant a new purchase for you guys if all we're going to get? Because essentially that Padawan Ahsoka in her Clone Wars outfit for me is one of, if not the best Black Series figures ever released. It is beautifully sculpted.
Agreed.
The likeness to the likeness does such a good job of blending the lines between animated and live action. The proportions are perfect. The accessories were spot on. Articulation was great. Everything about that figure was perfect, and I don't think you can improve on it. So for my money, releasing it again, because that is essentially what we're going to get, but with Ariana Greenblatt's likeness, I don't really care for it. It doesn't bother me. But I'm thinking, especially considering what we were talking about earlier, James, with your sort of evolution of a character with regards to your displays, is that going to be a figure that you need to pick up for that purpose?
Yes. Okay. So technically, it's the one that we've got is season 3 onwards, Clone Wars. This outfit that we're gonna get is technically Tales of the Jedi, which is like the retconned version of a first appearance outfit, because they didn't want to go with the tube top anymore. And like you say, everybody collects differently. So if people just want all the Clone Wars stuff where they have the Clone Wars stuff, that's fine. But for me, this is on the Ahsoka shelf. It's from the Ahsoka series. As an example, I've got the 501st Kenobi version on the Kenobi shelf because that's where it's from. So I just follow that pattern. That's how I'll do it.
That's fair enough. I'm glad that you mentioned that, actually, because I had completely forgotten that the outfit that she wears in the live action flashbacks is the retconned season 1 outfit. I completely missed that. That is bad fan points on my behalf. That because obviously those flashbacks are from Teth, and she's obviously.
To be fair, mate, for a long time, not many people, including myself, recognised it as being Teth to begin with. So they're very hard scenes to see what's going on.
This is true. So
here's one for you, just because it's popped into my head, right? It just came up as like an Instagram reel weeks ago, and I sent it to Laura, and I was like, "Look at this!" And if you watch the background of the Siege of Mandalore scene, you can see Rex being an absolute badass, shooting Mandalorians, doing all sorts of cool moves.
Yeah.
So, fucking hell, I've seen that episode over 10 times. Never fucking saw that one. So, perfectly understandable, mate. Honestly,
Sea Lion was one step ahead of you. He knew it was Teth.
You could assume it was Teth. I'm not going to get into it, but
no,
basically because of how quick it jumps around. 1 minute there's walkers and what you assume to be Teth, and the next minute you've got it looks like Ryloth, but the environments are somewhat similar.
Yeah.
So it's like,
I think that's the thing. I think it's because it's so like it's misty and smoky. Like you don't make that connection straight away because things are quite clear in the animation, aren't they? When they're in Teth and they're going up the rock face and stuff. So yeah, that's fair enough. But Dan, what about you? Are you down for another Padawan Ahsoka if it's based on that retconned costume that I completely missed?
Yeah, I mean, if it is, I'd be up for it. I'd take it. Yeah, we'll see. I'd have to see the figure in person before I make the purchase. But yeah,
fair play.
Then.
Well, speaking of the transaction from from animation to live action, I think a character that I really hope that we see at some point in live action, but hasn't made the jump yet, and also hasn't made the jump into the Black Series, but is on the rumoured list, is Hot Callus.
Yeah.
Now, I'm really hoping that this is true because I know on the last stream we did, funnily enough, we did a Rebels Black Series wish list, and I'm pretty sure that this was one of the choices of Alex, Mr. Stormtrooper Davis. So I think, again, this falls into one of those categories, long overdue. At the same time, glad that it's taken this long, because it's going to be, if it's the only version, it's going to be the best version of Callus that we get. I'm up for it. I want to see live action style Callus in Black Series. I think this will make a fantastic figure. Give it a removable helmet, pack in that weapon. You know, I think that could be a really, really solid release. I think it's a given for all three of us, isn't it? Really, I think. Well, we talked about it at length in the last stream, so here for this one, definitely.
And even if
give it to me, say no more.
I mean, even for people who aren't Rebels fans,
it's another Imperial.
It's an Imperial, and you can, factor it in for, Battlefront.
Yeah,
ISP
definitely.
Soldier, so
definitely.
Yeah.
Here for that one as well.
Yum, yum.
And we're coming towards the end now, guys. We're in the home stretch. We've got 2 more reveals to touch on, I believe. James, I think there's some notes attached to these 2 as well, so if you want to elaborate, feel free to jump in. But we are apparently saucy getting season 4 iterations of Kanan and Hera. So for me,
pretty much covers it. That's what it says.
Yeah, that's it. But I was no, because I thought there was. Is it which season 4 iteration though? Is it going to be? That's again. This is where this list is so up in the air, because Kanan obviously starts the season looking very, very different to how he looks at the end.
Yeah.
So
I expect them to do exactly what they've done for the HasLab Ghost versions, except I don't think Hera will have the accessories that figure has, so maybe just the blaster.
Yeah.
Call it a day. Kanan, the blind version, face shield. And I think because the outfit is exactly the same, they need to then give us that alternate head.
I was just about to say, I think they need to do alternate heads. I mean, I'm with Sea Lion on this one, not with the stupid haircut, because I agree it was a glow down for the character. He was a handsome boy before. He didn't need to shave his beard, and he didn't need to chop his ponytail off. But that as it may, it is what it is. Like I said, I think it's just one of those where I think bringing the vintage collection figures into the mix, obviously not having back the Ghost, I can't speak to the quality of those figures, but I've seen images. I know that they're bloody good. So
nice.
if the Black Series versions of those are anywhere near as good as the TVC versions, then hook me up. I must admit,
100%.
I'm not the biggest fan of the Black Series Kanan that we already have. I think it's a dated figure. I think it was dated when it came out. It definitely needed some work. So I think, again, it's one of those figures that just falls into that category. It's coming at the right time because Hasbro are doing some of their best work. And so I think
half of the tooling for that Kanan figure already exists as well, because all they did for the vintage version was use Ezra's lower legs. Because that is basically what it is, really. So
there we go.
We've got the Ezra from Ahsoka. Well, Ezra from Ahsoka.
Yeah. The Ezra from Ahsoka that's actually from Rebels,
yeah.
But with an Ahsoka head. Yeah. No, I'm all for it. To be fair, I think even if it was a season 1 Kanan and Hera, those characters in Black Series are in need of upgrades anyway. So whether we get them in different costumes is by the by. I'm here for it. I'm happy to see it, and really, really hope that, like I said, if the vintage collection figures are anything to go by, that the Black Series versions are just as good. If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure I haven't missed any, but if I have, James will likely correct me. But
yes, we have actually.
One more, I believe.
Oh.
Yeah.
The one I've got.
1977.
That's the one. So I thought we'd finish it on an original trilogy note for those OGs out there. this is another one. For my money, in vast need of an upgrade.
Yeah.
Really need one.
That
The
is what
original,
is dated.
the original's been done to death. It's been re-released and re-released and re-released and retweaked. So update it. We're rumored to be getting a new one for the vintage collection, which I'm actually really excited about, because as much as I love that older Legacy Collection one from sort of 2009, as good as a figure that is, I need another old Ben, because I've got an empty land speeder sitting on my floor that needs a couple of figures in it. So they've done Luke, half of that equation is solved. I need a new Obi-Wan to sit beside him. So I think whatever we get, I think it's likely that the vintage collection one is revealed and released to us before the Black Series one. So I think it's safe to say that whatever we get in vintage collection, we're going to see upscaled into the Black Series, and our expectations can be set from what we see in TVC. But I, for one, am very excited about this, because I'll be happy to retire the older version of Obi-Wan in favour of a new one. What about you two? Are you down?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, what we haven't discussed is the leaks out there pretty much confirm we're getting new versions of Han and Chewie. So this is kind of the last one of the main character crew that we need.
And they're rumoured for TVC as well, obviously, with the return to Tatooine story campaign going on. So yeah, good to see some OT love as well. Feels like, I don't know why, it just feels like, I don't know whether it's just me, but we don't seem to have had that many figures from the OT released recently, with the exception of sort of Luke and Leia, and possibly Hammerhead, if you can, go back to sort of the middle of last year. We've not really had that many original trilogy figures released, really, have we, in recent memory?
It has gone pretty quiet for.
We had a few for the Return of the Jedi anniversary, but
I'm talking like all new, brand new figures.
Yeah, I do see this come up quite often, actually. Again, on the Discord and just on Instagram. Oh, we want more OT, and obviously with the amount of new media coming out, licenses as they are, priority has to be given to those for certain reasons. But I do feel like a lot of the main sort of original trilogy stuff has been covered, and of course you can always do better versions. But with it being Black Series, I do think that a lot of the deep cut background characters,
the glub shittos,
are ones that we might not necessarily see just in this line. So it's great that people love it. I mean, we'd have nothing without it.
Yeah.
But I do think we've got, just to put it in perspective, for every original trilogy film, I've got 2 shelves taken up. For the prequel trilogy stuff, they're all on one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good point. That is a very good point. And do you know what? My display is exactly the same, with the exception of Clone Wars, because I've got sort of Clone Wars and prequels split. But yeah, I've got a shelf for 4, 5, and 6. I've got one shelf for 1 to 3, which feels criminal. So I think if we take anything away from this stream tonight, thankfully and finally, the prequels are getting the love that they so desperately needed in the Black Series. But yeah, just finishing up on that note with old Ben Kenobi, I think the OT needs a bit of love plugging back into it as well. Get some life injected back into that era, and bring us some characters. Because out of the 3 shelves that I've got for the original trilogy, my Empire Strikes Back shelf is probably the thinnest. So more Empire Strikes Back figures, please.
Yeah,
I think that might be the next wish list. If anyone's up for that,
can do. I was going to say, if you guys are still game for going through the films or the shows in a group in an order, however you want to do it.
Yeah,
we can cover everything. throughout.
Well,
the
let's make it a
12
thing
months or
then.
so.
Let's make it a thing then. We'll start with we'll go in release order, and we'll
Yeah.
start at the beginning, at the very beginning, where it all began in 1977. And the next Black Series wish list that we do will be original trilogy. So pencil that one in. We'll be no doubt back with one of those down the line. All the details to follow. But yeah, it's been a good one. Really, really cool list of stuff. I think, like I said, there's some really juicy stuff on there. Some not so inspiring stuff as well. But for the most part, I think Hasbro will be pocketing a decent bit of money from the three of us if that list is to be believed. So yeah, hopefully it comes to fruition. That is going to do it because we are closing in on the 3-hour mark, and I'm conscious of time, not just for ourselves but for you guys watching as well. I think this has been one of our most consistent audiences so far, so I thank you all for that. Looking at the numbers, you've pretty much all stayed from start to finish, so I commend you and I thank you for tuning in. It has been a blast, and it's always good to get together and chat the wars. Like I said, we'll be back with another one very, very soon. In the meantime, lads, have you got anything content-wise you want to quickly plug? Any new videos in the works? That's where the tumbleweed comes in. I'm going to have to make a jingle for that as well.
I was going to say, I've actually got 2 in the edit at the minute. So
oh, fantastic!
Hopefully one tomorrow, and then one later on in the week. All being well.
Excellent.
Yeah, you know me and YouTube videos are about as rare as rocking or shit. So when the motivation comes through fleetingly, maybe I'll. I mean, I think that works for me. When I put something out, I make sure I give it 100% of my attention, and I do a good quality video. So maybe you'll get 2 over the next year, but I'm always posting crap on Instagram.
That's it. That's where the money is.
Over there.
Yeah, like I said, links all down below in the video description. If you want to check James's photographs out, because there are some pretty juicy ones over there. Like I said, if you're a Hot Toys fan, that's a pilgrimage you need to make, is over to James's page. But yeah, look forward to whatever you've got in the pipeline, Dan. As always, been a pleasure, lads. And for all of you watching, like I said, until next time, thanks for joining us. Keep collecting, and as always, may the force be with you.